Good evening, football fans, and welcome to Week 3 of Henley Hornets football on 104.3 and 960 Sports with HD video on mybasin.com. We are on the road once again tonight, coming to you from beautiful Ashland, Oregon, as the Hornets on the road to kick off Big Sky Conference play against the Ashland Grizzlies. Good evening, everybody. I'm Josh Eldridge. Along with me is Kevin Petrick and my friend Rick Reuter running the live stream tonight. Kevin, we're back here in Jackson County after a successful week last week, now kicking off league play. It's a little bit of a different beast, but the Hornets, they look confident, and they look good here in warm-ups.
Yeah, all of a sudden, we have some serious business. 3 weeks in, first league game, and like you said, this kind of changes the whole atmosphere. This one counts in the standings, and Henley wants to come out strong again tonight.
Last week against Crater is a 35-0 win for the Hornets against a good 5A school in Crater. But really the story last week for the Hornets was dominating the line of scrimmage on both ends of the football. Their offensive line was able to move guys around. Their defensive line was able to get in the defensive backfield. That was one of the things we talked about going into that game. I look for more of the same physicality from the guys up front for the Hornets.
Yeah, now that we're into Game 3, we're starting to see patterns and the roles that some of the kids will play. And one of Henley's strengths, they're not really huge. They're not really big. But across that line, they're very aggressive, they're tough, and they're quick. They're quicker than most lines, and it showed last week. They played very well.
We're kicking off league play tonight against the Ashland Grizzlies. They're a new addition to the Big Sky Conference, as it's being called. Ashland, one of the schools joining in North Bend, joining in Marshfield, joining into the conference. We'll take a look at the rest of the schedule coming up around the league, but it begins here tonight, Kevin, the road to a Big Sky Conference, the inaugural Big Sky Conference Championship. It starts tonight here on the road. And by the way, a lot of people have been very surprised that Henley has started 3 weeks on the road. We don't get our first home game until next week, so these Hornets are well-traveled. I don't think that a real hostile environment can get to the Hornets tonight because they've had so much experience already.
Yeah, it's a good way to start your preseason like that. You get tested in a lot of ways with long trips that you might not be able to in other seasons. So it's definitely a good thing for Henley.
We will take a look at this matchup coming up in just a little bit. We will also take a look around the state. Like I said, we'll take a look at the Big Sky Conference, what's happening there. Also, some real interesting games for some Basin teams on 2 separate occasions. According to the coaches poll, we've got number 1 and number 2 going at each other this weekend. We'll tell you more about that coming up in just a bit. We'll also take a look at the coaches poll top 10s, as well as a peek at what's happening in the college football world coming up as we continue our pregame coverage on mybasin.com. The Henley Hornets 2-0 on the road tonight, beginning Big Sky Conference play against the Ashland Grizzlies. We'll be back as we continue our coverage on my.com.
The road's a crazy place. Uh-oh! That's why Les Schwab Tires fixes brakes, steering, and more. And those guys don't. Keep driving. I'm just glad Les Schwab puts my safety first, so I can backseat drive with confidence.
Help maximize your mileage with a free safety check. Just swing by. Les Schwab Tires, celebrating 70 years of doing the right thing.
To us, pizza the way it ought to be isn't just our slogan. It's our promise and our passion to give you the best dining experience and the best tasting pizza you expect. For over 40 years, we've been making pizza the way it ought to be. Handmade with the freshest and finest ingredients. Our dough is made fresh daily, and we use 100% whole milk mozzarella cheese and toppings edge to edge. There's pizza, and then there's Mountain Mike's Pizza. Pizza the way it ought to be.
This is where unconditional love and immeasurable happiness reside. This is home. Coltwell Banker, where home begins.
Reds. There are many threads that run through our region. There are churches and schools and Little League teams that bring us together and bind us into communities. There are roads and cars. There are houses and jobs and businesses, all woven together to make the fabric of our communities. There are financial threads that are part of that tapestry as well. For over 80 years, it's been our pleasure to be headquartered here, providing financial services to generations of our friends and neighbors. From that first savings account, to retirement planning, and all of the cars and houses and groceries in between, we keep your money local, investing it back into our communities, adding more threads to the fabric to make our communities stronger. Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union. Find your path.
And we welcome you back to our continuing coverage of Henley Hornets football on 104.3 and 960 Sports, HD video on mybasin.com, on the road at Ashland tonight. To kick off Big Sky Conference play, the Hornets got through the preseason unscathed, a perfect 2-0. The Ashland Grizzlies are 1-1. As we take just a quick look at the Big Sky Conference as it stands after all of these teams are done with their non-league games, as Henley and Mazama sit at the top of the conference. Each team is 2-0. Everyone else in the conference is 1-1. Ashland, North Bend, Klamath Union, Hidden Valley, and Marshfield are each 1-1. Marshfield is the one that stands out to me. If you look at their games so far, they've scored 21 points through 2 games. They've allowed 44. Kevin, they lost to Cascade last week in pretty convincing fashion. The Cougars kind of had their way with the Pirates. It's interesting because that Marshfield team. Well, that was interesting. That Marshfield team, after last season, was thought to come into this conference and maybe be in the conversation of running the table along with Mazama, possibly Henley, but they stumbled a little bit in the preseason, and this conference is really showing a little bit of parity early.
Yeah, there are a lot of good teams in this conference, and I think for teams like Marshfield, I think that as the season progresses, they'll get better. They had a lot of holes to fill, so some of the teams that have that problem, they'll get better as the season goes. By the end of the season, I think we may get 4 teams in the playoffs by the end of all this. So some quality teams.
Certainly interesting. We've got 2 teams out of the Big Sky Conference in the coaches poll top 10. We'll take a look at that now as Mazama is number 1. Number 2 is Marist. Pendleton is ranked 3rd. Estacada comes in at number 4, followed by our Henley Hornets, placing 5th on the list. Cascade, who is next week's opponent for the Hornets, is ranked 6th. Scappoose is ranked 7th, followed by Seaside, a week 1 opponent for Henley, is ranked 8th. Baker is 9, and LeGrand is 10. And as we look at that top 10, something worth noting, Mazama and Marist, number 1 and 2, well, they are playing at Viking Field tonight in the Klamath Basin. I love it. I love the 1 and 2 teams playing each other. Mazama won a big week 1 game against Estacada. Now they've got Marist. It's a rematch of the COVID Year Championship. That should be a fun game to watch. I'm almost a little bit jealous, but I'm ready for this one here too.
Yeah, there are plenty of good teams in the basin playing highly ranked opponents. Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Another team that is ranked number 1 out of the Klamath Basin in their respective classification, the Lost River Raiders, ranked number 1 in the state in terms of 1A 8-man football. They are taking on St. Paul, who is the number 2 ranked team in 1A 8-man football. You've got Bonanza, who's been real successful at 1A. Cross Point has been in the conversation as well. I love it. There's so much talent in the Klamath Basin this year, Kev.
It's just one of those things you don't really know when you make the schedule, so you're going to end up with. But all of the teams at the top of the rankings, they're all kind of piled together and playing each other, and it makes it kind of neat, yeah.
Absolutely, it does. Talking about some of the other teams playing in the Big Sky tonight, other than Mazama taking on Marist in a non-league contest. Klamath Union is at Modoc Field against Hidden Valley. North Bend is playing Marshfield, the coastal teams matching up earlier in the season. Interesting couple of games. Klamath Union sort of in a rebuilding state. Hidden Valley, I would say, is in the same boat. And then you don't quite know what you're going to get from Marshfield and North Bend for Week 1 matchups. I like the schedule and how it shapes up so far.
Yeah, definitely.
If we take a look at some of the things happening tomorrow around the state of Oregon, the University of Oregon is taking on BYU. There's a couple of ranked teams at 12:30 tomorrow. And then Oregon State taking on Montana State at 3 o'clock tomorrow. You can listen to that game on this very station on 104.3 and 960 Sports. Join Mike Parker right around 3 o'clock for that contest. We're going to step aside, and when we come back, we'll take a little bit more of an in-depth look in this game. The quarterback from Ashland leading the state in a couple of categories. We'll tell you which ones when we come back on your home for Henley Hornets football all season long on 104.3 and 960 Sports with HDO on mybasin.com.
During COVID, I gained over 24 pounds. I lost motivation in working out. I lost motivation in eating healthy. And for me, if I'm not active, I just don't eat well. But then I started taking a class at Harbor's gym called High Low. The first week I felt like I didn't fit in and I couldn't do it. But the instructor was so kind and thanked me for coming and told me how well I did. I was like, no, I wasn't, but it made me come back the next week and the next week. And soon enough, I was keeping up with the class. I started introducing more classes and then going Saturdays. I learned how to lift weights accurately with repetition. I started lifting on my own. I started golfing too with my husband. And all of a sudden, I was buying salads instead of sandwiches. Small victories happened week by week, and it's 100% because of Harbor, their staff, their gym, the golf. My husband is getting out of the house and working out with me. His golf game is increasing, we're lifting together, and we feel good. Harbor, where I lost my reins and got my gains.
To us, pizza the way it ought to be isn't just our slogan. It's our promise and our passion to give you the best dining experience and the best tasting pizza you expect. For over 40 years, we've been making pizza the way it ought to be. Handmade with the freshest and finest ingredients. Our dough is made fresh daily, and we use 100% whole milk mozzarella cheese and toppings edge to edge. There's pizza, and then there's Mountain Mike's Pizza. Pizza the way it ought to be.
Hi, I'm Rob Cedar, General Manager at Clown Falls Honda and Clown Falls Subaru. I've lived here my whole life. Most of our employees have lived here their whole life too. Our sales, service, parts, and body shop teams are all staffed with experienced local folks. You know them, and they know you. Our dealerships are comfortable and not corporate. Comfortable means we're focused on you. I'm Rob, and I'm glad to know you.
This is where unconditional love and immeasurable happiness reside. This is home. Coltwell Banker, where home begins.
Welcome back to beautiful Ashland, Oregon, the site of tonight's MyBasin.com game of the week. The 2-0 Henley Hornets here on the road, taking on the 1-1 Ashland Grizzlies. You know, Kev, you and I were talking about this Ashland program a little bit before we went on air. It's kind of an interesting story for them. Coach Bo Lenners is in his 5th season with the team, a record of 17-22. He took over a program that was sort of middling down there, right around the middle of the pack in their conference. He took them to a 9-2 record in 2019, and then, as you know, the world went on pause in 2020 for COVID. Ashland didn't field a team that year. They had a junior varsity squad, which a lot of these guys you'll see tonight played on, but no varsity team, and then last year going 0-8 and ended up dropping to 4A because of it, to play 4A football this season. But Coach Bo, he built a winner, and then in a way, COVID kind of, ruined the momentum a little bit. And, we talked about it. This team has got some talent. They've got their quarterback, Jojo Harrower, who's passed for 607 yards through 2 games, 7 passing touchdowns. That's good for number 1 in the state in both categories. I think this year is sort of Ashland's coming out party in a way.
Yeah, they have an interesting history these past few seasons, and you don't really know a lot about them, but they are young, and they have a lot of talent, and they are a good football team.
Certainly, along with Mr. Jojo Harrower, their quarterback, they've got their running back, Gavin White, who we did see a couple of years ago, who's very talented. He's got 5 touchdowns total on the year. And as they play the national anthem here, we're going to step aside, and then we'll be right back. We'll dive more into this game. Then it's time for coin toss and kickoff on 104.960 Sports.
Road can be a busy place. Uh-oh! That's why Les Schwab Tires fixes brakes, steering, and more. And those guys don't. Keep driving. I'm just glad Les Schwab puts my safety first, so I can backseat drive with confidence.
Help maximize your mileage with a free safety check. Just swing by. Les Schwab Tires, celebrating 70 years of doing the right thing.
To us, pizza the way it ought to be isn't just our slogan. It's our promise and our passion to give you the best dining experience and the best tasting pizza you expect. For over 40 years, we've been making pizza the way it ought to be. Handmade with the freshest and finest ingredients. Our dough is made fresh daily, and we use 100% whole milk mozzarella cheese and toppings edge to edge. There's pizza, and then there's Mountain Mike's Pizza. Pizza the way it ought to be.
This is where unconditional love and immeasurable happiness reside. This is home. Coldwell Banker, where home begins.
Threads. There are many threads that run through our region. There are churches and schools and little league teams that bring us together and bind us into communities. There are roads and cars. There are houses and jobs and businesses, all woven together to make the fabric of our communities. There are financial threads that are part of that tapestry as well. For over 80 years, it's been our pleasure to be headquartered here, providing financial services to generations of our friends and neighbors. From that first savings account, to retirement planning, and all of the cars and houses and groceries in between, we keep your money local, investing it back into our communities, adding more threads to the fabric to make our communities stronger. Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union. Find your path.
And we welcome you back to Ashland, Oregon for Henley Hornets football into the third week. The Hornets are 2-0. Ashland is 1-1. As you can see down there on the field, the captains are meeting for Ashland. The captains are Jacob Ortega, Saren Slowakowski, also Kekoa Kahu Kalana. And I have trouble with that name, but that's okay. And we've also got, let's see, I'm missing one person. Gavin White is out there for the Ashland Grizzlies. For Henley, it's going to be Luke Bennett, Shaw Stork, Juan Manzo, and Braden Morris, the captains for the Hornets, as they meet at midfield. Kevin, any final thoughts before this game gets going?
Well, yes, this game poses quite an interesting challenge for the coaches of Henley. Ashland scored 74 points in their first two games. They scored 41, then 33, which is a big difference from the first two games that we saw from our opponents the last 2 weeks. So they can score, they can throw. They've thrown the ball 75 times in 2 weeks, which you just don't see from this level. So we're going to have to figure out if do you want to rush the quarterback? Do you want to put pressure? Do you want to stay back and guard the receivers as they go downfield? A lot of decisions, a lot of new coaching this week I'm sure has gone on. It's going to be a good challenge for Henley here.
Well, as we take away from the coin toss, the Hornets won the toss, and they chose to receive the football tonight. The Hornets on the road in their navy blue helmets with the yellow H and the yellow stripe down the side. They've got their white road uniforms, their jerseys rather, with the yellow numbering and navy blue trim on the front and back. Yellow pants with a navy stripe down the side. For Ashland tonight, white helmets with the Grizzly paw on the side in red uniforms with white numbering and lettering across the front and back, white pants with a red stripe down the side, as we are just about ready for football this evening on a beautiful Friday night. No smoke, Hardly any clouds. It's a great night for football.
This is a nice place to play. I like the mountains kind of surround the field. They have a nice view. Very nice field playing surface as well. It's a nice trip to make.
As we take a look at the weather tonight, 72 degrees here at kickoff. In about an hour, we'll dip into the mid-60s. It is looking like fall weather, which we love. I was talking to some of the coaches before the game. They said, thank goodness, because playing in the 90-degree heat last week on the turf at Crater was a bit of an experience.
Yes, it was.
All right, the Grizzlies are just about ready to kick off in just a few minutes as the Hornets will be going from left to right. Across your screen, Logan Whitlock back there to receive, along with Chris Janney. They're stationed right at about the 10-yard line. As we've got 12 minutes on the clock, and we are ready to go. Whitlock fields it on a one-hopper at about the 10-yard line, brings it up the near side, up past the 20, inside the 25, up past the 30. Now he's got some room. He's crossing midfield. He finds some daylight. Whitlock crosses around the other side, down at the 45, rolled up to about the 43. About a 47-yard return on the kick from Whitlock, and that gets the Hornets some fantastic field position to begin their first drive.
Henley special teams have looked especially good the first couple of weeks, and there were some nice blocks downfield. Owen Sheen threw a good block. Thomas Bakke also threw a nice block. Excellent return.
All right, the Henley offense out on the field, quarterback by Shaw Stork and Logan Whitlock in the backfield. Will get you the rest of the starters after this, as Whitlock is off to the right of Stork. Ball is snapped. It's a handoff to Whitlock. He goes along the left side, finds some room around the outside. He's up past the 40 and dragged down at the 35, maybe the 34. It's a solid gain of 9 for the junior running back. As we take a look at the rest of the starters for the Hornets, Chris Janney out there, wide receiver, along with Owen Sheen along the far side. Tyler Harper out with a quad injury, so we'll see Cohen Redmond at the other receiver spot. All right, 2nd and 1 for the Hornets. This one is a play-action pass to the near side. It is caught and dragged down for a loss of maybe a yard on the play is Bennett, who's also out there. And so that'll bring up 3rd down for the Hornets.
Luke Bennett's become a pretty nice target for Shaw. He looked to him on this little short route that time. But Ashland sniffed it out and leaves with a 3rd and short.
3 guys set up to the near side for Henley. It is Janney, Sheen, and Redmond. This one's a handoff to Whitlock. He trudges up the middle and gets the first. A gain of about 5 yards on the play for Logan, and a Henley first down, their first one of the contest.
2 successful runs for Henley on this drive already. We may see a lot of Logan tonight.
He was our Mountain Mike's player of the game last week. So far for Logan this year, 30 carries, over 330 yards, and 5 touchdowns. 10-17 to go in the first, and we are scoreless. Stork takes the snap, play-action pass, looks to be to Sheen on the far side. He's got some blocks. He's up and past the midfield. He's up past the 15, now inside the 10, the 5, and touchdown for Owen Sheen from about 29 yards out, and the Hornets up on the board first.
Owen Northcutt is on that left side over there playing tackle, and this whole drive, he is doing an excellent job on his edge, and he threw a nice block to open up a route for Sheen there.
Kicking the no extra point attempt. It looks like the Hornets are going for 2. They've got sort of a strange formation, and now everyone coming off the field. They've got guys tagging out. It looked like half the line was set up on the left side of the field, half of it was on the right side, and now they've substituted everyone out to get the kicking unit out there. Owen Sheen will do the honors for the extra point. The kick, it is up, and it is good. The Hornets strike first tonight, up 7-0 with 10:04 to go in the first. We'll step aside and we'll be back with more Hornets football on 104.3 and 960 Sports with HD video on mybasin.com.
Oregon Tech men and women basketball season tickets are on sale now, starting at just $75 for 30 games. Come help us celebrate our 75th anniversary and cheer on the Hustlin' Owls. Reserved season seats start at $175. And our all-new Family Pass gets a family of 4 in on the action starting at just $200. Go to OregonTechOwls.com/tickets to order. We will see you at Danny Miles Court.
And we welcome you back to Hornets football on 104.3 and 960 Sports. Henley already up 7-0 with 10:04 to go in the first. It was a 5-play drive that lasted 1 minute and 56 seconds, capped off with an Owen Sheen 29-yard touchdown reception. We know this Hornets offense can strike quickly, Kevin, and that was another example of it there.
Yeah, Henley's offense looked terrific on that first drive. We'll see how Ashland returns when they get the ball here.
Back to receive for Ashland. Looks like it's going to be Perrin Helsell along with Chase Cota. The kick is a bit of a line drive, bounces around the 10, hits the 5, and rolls into the end zone. A touchback for the Hornets. As we are about ready to get things started, the starters for Ashland: Crosby Lenners, Eric Shadoan, Jojo Harrower, Marcelo Satarin, Noah Schrader, Gavin White, Nathan Schrader, Ray Hart, Talon Hernandez, Alan Helsell, and Jack Bauer, your 11 on the field for the Ashland Grizzlies, as they will start their first possession of the ball game on their own 20 with 10:04 to go. First play from scrimmage for this Henley defense all night as well. Their defensive front played well last week. We'll see how they do this week. A quick snap to Harrower. He unleashes it to the near sideline to Lenners, and a small gain on the play of about 2 yards. It was a quick strike to the near side. We saw Jojo Harrower warming up a little bit in the pregame. Kev, he looked pretty accurate, and he's got one heck of an arm on him, too. He can unleash the deep ball.
Yeah, he's a sophomore, so doesn't have a whole lot of games under his belt, but very talented, and they will throw. We may see a shootout tonight.
Henley up 7-0, 9:30 to go in the first. Ashland on their first possession. Gavin White, the running back, lined up behind Harrower. 2 wide receivers to either side. This is going to be a handoff to White up the middle. And a gain of 3 or 4 yards, maybe 5. It'll bring up third for the Grizzlies.
And there's Owen Northcutt again. He is everywhere early in this game.
This Henley team has got a lot of guys who play both sides of the football, and those guys are active on each side as well. They've got a lot of heart on that team. Third and about 3 to go. Harrower takes the snap, drops back into the pocket. He hits Lenners down the near sideline. It'll be a first down and a gain of 7. First down, Grizzlies.
Kyle Nichols bumped him out of bounds there, and you know, a lot of times we say we want to get teams in third and long, third and passing. It's going to be a little different tonight. Ashland's not that uncomfortable with 3rd and 5, 3rd and 3. They will throw that quick out. They'll throw almost every down. So it's a little bit of a different look tonight.
Lenners along the near side. He's got each of Ashland's 2 catches this evening. 3 wide receivers out to the right side of Harrower. Man in motion. It's going to be a handoff to White. He cuts up the right side and drops the football. It looks like the Hornets recovered it, and they did. A big turnover with 8:40 to go in the first.
Mark Carpenter with the hit. Thomas Bakke picked it up, and the Hornets pick up an early fumble.
This Henley defense has done a great job of creating turnovers. I think through the first 2 games against Seaside and Crater, an interception and a fumble recovery in each game. This Hornets defense is fierce.
They are. They're getting some turnovers, and I spoke with the coaches a little bit before the game, and as I was impressed, they're impressed as well. This is a good tackling team, and they're a good hard-hitting team, and they will force some fumbles.
Henley takes over at the Ashland 40 with 8:34 to go in the first. They're already up 7-0. Stork with Whitlock in the backfield. This is going to be a handoff to Whitlock, trying to cut up the right side, and he is taken down after a gain of 7 or 8. And Whitlock doing a good job of keeping the feet moving and fell forward for another couple of yards after being hit.
Yeah, Henley's having some really early success with the running game. That was a good 7 or 8 yards on that first down carry.
8 yards is the official measurement. It'll be 2nd and 2. The yard to gain is the Ashland 30. A design keeper for Stork as he tries to cut up the left side, but he is wrapped up in the backfield and brought down for a loss of 1.
It's a nice piece of defense by Saturn for the Grizzlies. Keeping the Hornets to almost no gain, bringing up third down.
It'll be 3rd and 3, and a whistle on the field. It looks like an Ashland player has got to tie their shoe. You got to keep the shoes tied, Kev.
You do. You cannot wear a Velcro.
Yeah, no Velcro. 7:40 to go in the first. 3rd and 3 on the way for the Hornets, who already lead 7-0. Stork takes the snap. He's rolling to his right, has some time to throw, unleashes one downfield, and it is caught into the end zone. Henley touchdown.
Luke Bennett had his man beat, and when you give Shaw that much time, good offensive line play by the Hornets on that play. Shaw had a lot of time. He just lofted it deep, and Bennett scores the second touchdown of the quarter for the Hornets.
32 yards out. That matches the 29-yard touchdown that Shaw tossed earlier to Owen Sheen. This is Bennett's first touchdown of the game and his second of the season, as it will be Owen Sheen to do the honors on the extra point attempt. Has only missed one all year so far, and it was the one he attempted on the coast at Seaside. Was perfect last week. Looking to improve, and it looks like they got Ashland on offsides along the far side. Someone jumped, and that will be the call. It's going against the Grizzlies, and I would imagine that this is going to be applied to the kickoff in an extra point scenario.
We'll see what they decide to do. Yes.
All right, now we're ready for the extra point attempt. The snap, the hold, the kick is blocked. And so we will stay 13-0. Henley leads with 7:24 to go in the first. That drive, 3 plays. It went 40 yards. Henley was stuffed on the first couple of plays, and then Shaw Stork unleashed one for 32 yards, connected with Luke Bennett, and the rest is history. A good drive put together by the Hornets, started by a fumble recovery by the defense. That was a good couple of possessions there for the Hornets.
Yeah, near perfect start for Henley, and we mentioned that early in the first game of the season against Seaside. Henley came out a little slow, took a while to get things going. These last 2 games, he came out of the gate real strong, and that's what you want.
And before Ashland starts their next possession, we'd like to remind you that this game is brought to you by Les Schwab Tires. Having the right set of tires and wheels on your vehicle is just part of an essential safety checklist. That's why Les Schwab does more than install just tires and wheels. You can come on in for a free pre-trip safety check, and they're going to help make sure that everything is in working order at Les Schwab Tires. 3 locations in the basin, 1 on Washburn Way, 1 on South 6th in Klamath Falls, and 1 in Merrill. Les Schwab Tires has been doing the right thing since 1952. 13-0 Henley with 7:24 to go in the first. And the Hornets will kick it off. It's up. A nice boot is fielded inside the 5, brought up past the 10. Now up to the 20 and ripped down just past the 20, called the 23-yard line. It looked like that was Noah Schrader on the return, and Ashland will start their second possession at their own 24-yard line.
Wyatt Fussell in on the tackle. Nice special teams play.
Only took the Hornets a minute to score on that last drive in 3 plays. Ashland getting their second crack at it here. Only got 4 plays into their last drive before their running back, White, fumbled the ball. This time Harrower drops back into the pocket, looks near side. It is caught by Lenners, and he takes it out of bounds. A good throw and catch for a gain of 14 and an Ashland first down.
That time the Ashland line dominated, and Harrower had plenty of time. And I have a feeling if you give him plenty of time, he's going to complete the pass. So.
He's a tall kid. He's a sophomore. He can see the field because he's tall. And so exactly, Kev, he if he has time, he could be a little bit dangerous. Leads the 4A in passing yards. 1st and 10, Harrower drops back, looks near side, and the throw goes out of bounds. It looked like the intended target was Gavin White. And so that'll bring up 2nd and 10, and the clock stops at 7:05 to go in the first. Henley up 13-0.
Nicely played by the Henley defense. There were 4 white shirts around that pass, so there was really nowhere for him to throw it. 2nd down and 10.
One of the things we talked about coming into the game was whether or not Henley's defensive backs would be able to stick with these Ashland wide receivers who are really doing a great job this season of connecting with their quarterback. They seem to have a lot of chemistry, and Henley has done a good job, at least in the early part of this game. 2nd and 10, this is a handoff to White. He thinks about coming to the near side of the field before cutting back up the middle for a gain of 4. That brings up 3rd down for Ashland.
Ashland kind of mixing things up. They'll throw a few passes, and that opened up. In that case, it did open up the run a little bit. Henley dropped some people back, and it gave him a little room in the middle for a nice little 5-yard gain.
Call it 3rd and 5 for Ashland. They are 1 for 1 on 3rd down conversions so far in the game. That matches Henley's total. 3rd and 5. Harrower takes a snap, drops back into the pocket, looks close to Lenners, and he makes the catch right at the line. Question is, will they give it to him? And it looks like they will. So a 5-yard reception, good for an Ashland 1st down.
Kyle Nichols played that just about right. He's going to be busy tonight over there, and he did a good job. They picked up the 1st down by just a little bit.
Lenners has been the primary target tonight. Crosby Lenners, a junior, and he has caught most of the passes tonight for Ashland. The receiver along the near side, number 1 for the Grizzlies. And we got an update for the Mazama game, up 14-0 on Marist. Number 1 taking on number 2 in the state. Certainly an interesting game that we'll keep tabs on this evening. All right, 1st and 10 for the Grizzlies. This is going to be a handoff to White. Dances around the near side. He gets to midfield, a gain of 1 or 2 yards on the play before being wrapped up and brought down. Brings up 2nd for the Grizzlies.
Good pursuit and tackle by Owen Sheen. He came a long way to make that play. Well done.
6th play of the drive coming up. This will be the longest either team has had so far in the game. 5.5 to go in the first, and Henley up 13-0. Last week, the Hornets shut out Crater. In week 1, they sneaked away from Seaside with a 1-point win, 22-21, and find themselves up 2 scores in the first against Ashland. It is 2nd and 8. Harrower takes a snap. He's rolling to his right side, unleashes a deep ball downfield, and it is broken up, but a flag at the 20. Contact on both sides. We'll see which way this penalty goes.
Yeah, Owen Sheen was back on the coverage on this one, on the far side of the field.
Pass interference defense, and so this one is coming up. It'll be an Ashland 1st down, and that's one of those plays where the quarterback threw it up. Both the guys kind of had to pause to make a play on the ball, and there was just some contact, and Ashland got the benefit of the doubt. You'll take those. You'll move along. It'll be 1st down Grizzlies.
I think that was one of those where the defensive back doesn't look for the ball necessarily. You were right. There was both contact. The DB didn't look for the ball.
Certainly.
And the official, I think, threw the flag.
Yeah, I know. I would agree. It was the right call on the play, but it is 1st down Grizzlies at the 35, now into Henley territory. The first time that the Grizzlies have been in plus territory all night. 5:08 to go in the first. Henley up 13-0. Harrower takes a snap, a play action pass. It is going to be tossed along the far side of the field. On the catch was Satterin, and he climbs forward for a gain of 4 on the play. Brings up 2nd down for Ashland.
Chris Janney on the tackle. A little bit of help from Logan Whitlock as well.
Sort of a play action screen there. 2nd time we've seen Ashland bust that play out of the old playbook. See if they have to get creative. They're down 13. Definitely not time to hit the panic button yet. A lot of football left to be played, but they're getting creative with their play calling. 2nd and 7. Harrower takes the snap. This one is a handoff to White up the middle, busts through the line, and gets up there for a gain of maybe 3 yards on the play. That'll bring up 3rd and 4.
Emiliano Ortiz, strong tackle right there.
Ashland has had success on 3rd down tonight, 2 for 2 in such attempts. This is the the ninth play of the drive coming up. It is 3rd and 4. The yard to gain is the Henley 25. 2 receivers to the near side, 2 receivers to the far side of the field. Hayward drops back to pass. He looks right, rolls right, has some room to move upfield. He's going to keep it himself, and he reaches for the first down marker, dropped the football along the far sideline. It looks like he got it, but we'll have to see about the official placement. Maybe a yard short. 4th down on the way for Ashland.
That was a nice read by Harrower. He saw there was room to run, and he took the lane over there, but he came up just a little short.
Yeah, it looked like he tried to stretch the ball out to get across that marker and just had it knocked loose or rolled out of bounds. So that last yard to gain is still out there. 4th and 1, and the Ashland offense staying out there at the 26-yard line in Henley territory. Big play early. It's going to be a handoff to White. He finds some room. He is stuffed, and he is driven back. We'll see if they give him the forward progress, and even then, if he got it.
Matthew McCoy filled that gap and drove the runner back, and we're going to have a close.
Officials timeout. They're going to walk the chains out to see if he got it. In the meantime, as the officials figure out whether or not this is a first down, we'll remind you that this game is brought to you in part by Abby's Legendary Pizza. If you're looking for a great place to eat, head to one of Abby's Legendary Pizza locations for some of the best pizza in the Klamath Basin at 1919 Austin Street or at 2226 Shalleck Street near OIT. Abby's Legendary Pizza is a proud supporter of high school athletics. And in our HD video stream, got a nice good look at the ball. And we'll see where the chains line up. It looks like they are just short. And it is going to be Henley football.
They had to get the ball to the 25-yard line. The stick was right on the 25, and it was just short. Just a couple of inches short. So nice defensive stand by the Hornets, and they'll take over.
Ashland's drive ends after 10 plays. And about 4 minutes, they come up scoreless, and a turnover on downs gives Henley the football with 3:21 to go in the first at their own 25. Stork is going to keep it. Coming along the near side, he's going to roll around now to his left. He's feeling pressure, unloads one down the left sideline. A flag is thrown at the 40. The catch is made. After the flag is thrown, and flags after the play along the Henley sideline. There's a jumble of bodies. Officials are trying to split people up, and it looks like there's 2 flags on the play thrown well apart from each other.
That was a crazy play. We have to sort this one out a little bit.
Yeah, definitely going to have to see what the call ends up being. The officials talking in front of the Henley sideline. Not quite sure what the first flag was for. It was right as, I believe that was Whitlock who caught the ball on the far sideline, or was that Janney?
I think it was Luke Bennett that came up with it.
So they're saying Shaw threw the ball downfield after he was past the line of scrimmage. Personal foul against the Grizzlies.
I think the Hornets had an illegal man downfield.
Was that what it was? It
yeah.
wasn't an illegal forward pass?
I don't think so. I think they had a lineman. When he did all that scrambling, I think one of the linemen may have kind of trailed downfield. And
Gotcha.
he got the first flag, and then the second one was a personal foul on the far sideline. A lot going on there.
Yeah, so it looks like they're offsetting penalties, so we'll just redo it. 1st and 10 from the Henley, about 26-yard line. Stork rolling out to the near side. He's looking for a receiver downfield. He's got Sheen across midfield. Sheen catches it at the 40. He's racing to the 30, now to the 25, finally dragged down at the 20.
Stork doing a nice job of seeing the field. When he has time, he can really scan the field. He sees who's open, and that time Owen Sheen had a couple of steps on his defender, and he was open, and Shaw made the throw.
About a 50-yard connection between Stork and Sheen there. Completely flips field position. A great throw and catch. And now it'll be 1st and 10 from the Ashland 21-yard line. 2:45 to go in the first, and Henley leads 13-0. Man in motion, looks to be a sweep for Janney. Coming along the far side, tries to cut up field, drags the defender up a couple of yards. And looks to be a gain of 5 or 6 on the play. Second down for the Hornets.
Coach Paschy drawing up some fine plays here, just kind of taking what Ashland is giving. A good mixture of runs and passes.
So they're calling it 2nd and 6. So we crossed the 2-minute mark to go in the first quarter, and Henley leads 13-0. And Stork wasn't ready for the snap, fumbles it into the backfield. He collects it. Now he's got some time. Trying to roll around to the left. Stork throws it out of bounds. And they're going to call that an incomplete pass, a late flag, and that will probably be the intentional grounding, I would think.
Yeah, Shaw tried to just get rid of the ball to avoid a big loss, and there was nobody over there.
And in that case, it looked like he wasn't ready for the snap. Might have been a hard count where the center snapped the ball. Would that be a false start in case of the center at the line of scrimmage, or would it be more beneficial depending on where they place this football? It's way back there.
Yeah, it's going to be a loss of down as well if it's intentional grounding.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty hefty penalty. It's going to be 3rd and 30.
We'll see what the official measurement is, as that will bring up 3rd down for Henley. Stork drops back to pass, feels pressure on his backside, now rolling to the near side of the field. A flag in the backfield, a throw to the end zone, and it is incomplete, and a flag in the end zone as well. There's lots of laundry on the field, Kev.
That's crazy. We've seen a lot of plays with multiple penalties here in the last 3 or 4 minutes, and that was no different. Had a flag at the beginning of the play and then one at the very end.
So holding against the offense, pass interference against the defense. They are offsetting, repeat 3rd down.
Let's do it over.
All right. We're used to doing it over.
Sure.
Last week we had a couple of situations like that. We've already done it once this week. It's like an instant replay.
It is. So the 1st down marker is at the 10. So the ball is at almost the 40. So it's 3rd and a good 30, I'd say.
Yeah, so they're marking it at 28 yards to gain. 3rd and 28 for the Hornets coming up. They had a good idea on the last play, but the holding call split it up. So we'll see what they do now here, 3rd and 28. Stork takes the snap, looks quick over the middle, and the pass goes behind Sheen over the middle, incomplete. 4th down on the way for Henley.
That was a nice route. It was the first pass we've kind of seen in that seam, and Shaw saw that he was open. The receiver really didn't see the ball coming his way, and the ball just fell to the turf. So it'll be 4th down.
And that'll bring the punting unit out for the Hornets. Stork to do the honors. Back to receive for Ashland. Looks to be number 8, Noah Schrader, the junior, stationed at about the 13-yard line. Backing up just a few steps. The snap, the kick from Shaw. It is a high one. It's going to bounce at the 11. Kick back towards the 17 or 18-yard line, and we'll see where they officially mark it. But Ashland will take possession of the football with 1:24 left to go in the first of a 13-0 ball game. Henley leads on the road.
That was a very strange offensive possession. A lot of back and forth with penalties and crazy plays. But they put Ashland in a pretty good spot if you're a Hornets fan at about the 19.
Yep, on their own 19. So that is where Ashland will begin this possession. We will remind you that this game is brought to you in part by Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union. Picking the right path can make the journey easier, the distance shorter, and can assure that you end up at the right place. Whether you're dreaming of owning a home or you just want a great checking account, Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union can help you reach your goals. All right, Harrower in the backfield for Ashland, takes a snap, looking to the near side, finds a man downfield. It is dropped by Owen Sheen. Almost had the pick, had his hands on it, but it dropped to the turf. Incomplete pass, 2nd down.
Oh, that was played perfectly, and he had that thing right in his mitts, and it just couldn't quite make the grab. Good piece of defense, though. Played behind the receiver, saw the ball in the air, made a motion to it, and beat the receiver to the top point of the football. Good defense.
Sheen has got 2 picks through the first 2 weeks, almost had his 3rd in as many weeks there. But, yeah, like you said, it was a good idea to make a play on the football there. We've noticed that Harrower He will throw the deep ball, but he kind of leaves a lot of air under it. So an opportunity for the Hornets defensive back to make a play there.
Certainly.
The second down play is a pass to the far side of the field. Lenners with the reception, brings it out of bounds after a gain of about 6 yards. Third down on the way for the Grizzlies.
Those are hard to stop, those quick little outs. And Harrow was very good at throwing that route. And they get about 7.
Ashland so far in the ball game, 2 for 3 on third down conversions. They have had their fair share of opportunities, kind of chipping away. They haven't tried to go for the deep pass too much. Their biggest play so far has only gone for 14 yards. Here's the snap. It looks to be a keeper for Harrower coming along the near side. He's feeling chased, and the pass is incomplete, swatted away by the Henley defensive lineman.
That's Owen Northcutt again,
Active.
causing trouble back there. Yeah.
Yeah, he prioritized the ball instead of making the tackle there, which was the right play because, Harrower had time to throw but swatted it away and then dragged down the quarterback along with it. He's been active tonight on defense.
Yeah, he's played a good game thus far.
Still a minute and a half to go in the first. A lot of football left to go. 13-0. Henley leads on the road against Ashland. Kicking off Big Sky Conference play tonight against the Grizzlies. It'll be fourth down after that failed third down conversion, so the punting unit out for Ashland. The kick is up. Bennett will let that one bounce around the 45 and trickle out of bounds, so that is where the Hornets will start their possession with just under a minute to go in the first.
Another good defensive run there for Henley. They're starting to string a lot of those together. Didn't give up a point last week. Playing very well.
3 and out for the Grizzlies. The first time the Hornets have forced that tonight. First and 10 from the Henley 44. This is the 7th time the ball has changed hands tonight in terms of switching possession, and we still have time to go in the first quarter. Stork takes a high snap, keeps it himself, cuts upfield. He's up past midfield, up past the 45, the 40. He's inside the 35, the 30, up past the 20, inside the 15, 10-5, touchdown Stork from 55 yards out.
How many times have we seen that the last couple years? Kind of a broken play, and Shaw is just quick enough that if he gets through that first bit of traffic and he finds a lane, he's gone. He is fast.
Make the score 19-0 Hornets, 42 seconds to go in the first. One play, one touchdown. Stork from 55 yards out, and Sheen to kick the extra point. Had his last one blocked as the Ashland defensive front broke through. We'll see what it is here. The kick is up, and it is good. So Henley up 20-0 with 42 seconds to go in the first. And Kev, you said it, Stork broke free there. He took the high snap, decided, you know what, he saw room, he took it himself, and he took it to the house.
Yeah, the thing about him that kind of sets him apart from other quarterbacks is he doesn't get that flustered. He gets a high snap or the ball goes over his head or who knows what. He collects himself, gathers the ball, looks at the field, and then makes a good decision. So he's very good at that, and that time it paid off with a touchdown.
Well, as Henley leads 20-0 with 42 seconds to go in the first, we'll remind you that this game is brought to you in part by Coldwell Banker Home and Premier Realty. Little things can add up to big bills when you're buying, selling, or owning a home. And Coldwell Banker Home and Premier Realty's exclusive beyond the sale guarantees protect buyers, sellers, and homeowners from unexpected repair bills. To learn more, call Coldwell Banker Home and Premier Realty today. Stork and the Hornets score on one play on their last drive from 55 yards out. Longest play of the game for either team. And now the Hornets will kick off to the Grizzlies, looking for their 5th possession here in the first quarter. Pardon me, their 4th possession here in the first quarter. The kick is up. It's going to bounce around the 25-yard line, kick past the 20, and fielded at about the 17. Brought up and scolded down at the 35. White on the return there. He turned nothing into something there. A nice creative play there by the junior running back for Ashland.
Yeah, we've been applauding the tackling of Henley all year. A couple missed tackles there. Tricky little run, and it's kind of nice when you have a kicker who can tackle. Owen Sheen made the tackle there, so it's one more player that can stop a possible run back.
All right, 1st and 10, Grizzlies from their own 35. 3 receivers set out to the near side, an empty right side of the field. No, they've got 1 receiver out there. Apologies, and a whistle is blown. It is going to be, I believe, a timeout for the Hornets.
That looks to be the case.
And so we'll credit Henley with their timeout. And in the meantime, we will remind you that tonight's game is brought to you by Harbor Isles Tennis and Fitness Club. Harbor Isles Tennis and Fitness have the most understanding trainers you can ask for. They help you get motivated, and their workouts will make you feel accomplished all day long. Harbor Isles Tennis and Fitness wants you to lose those reins and get your gains. Henley with the timeout here. They find themselves up 3 scores early. They have struck from distance tonight. 29 yards to Owen Sheen, 32 yards to Luke Bennett. Stork from 55 yards out. I don't think Henley has been properly in the red zone all night, but they have scored 3 times.
Right, they have had some long touchdowns. Henley's made it a habit. If they see something they don't like, they go ahead and they'll call that early timeout. Make sure everything's in just the way they want it.
All right, back on the field, 1st and 10 from the Ashland 35 as they drive upfield. This is going to be a play-action pass throw over the middle. It is caught by Shadowan, and that's a big play. It's about 17 yards as the Grizzlies cross midfield down at the 49, so a 16-yard gain and a Grizzlies first down.
Something a little different that time. Ashland's been going outside with most of their pass routes. That was right through the middle, and he was open.
We'll see if they get any more of that action over the middle. That was a good point, Kev. A lot of these passes have been to Leonard's kind of on the out routes, but that looked to be more of a slant or a post, and good for 16 yards. That is Ashland's biggest play of the night so far as we hit the 15-second mark left to go in the first quarter. Henley up 20-0. This will likely be the last play, but instead a false start for Ashland on the far side of the field. Marcello Satarin jumped the gun a little bit, the receiver, to walk this one back.
We've had a lot of penalties in this first quarter. Kind of drawing it out. Pretty long quarter.
Yeah, a lot of penalties for both sides. It's not like one team is getting favored necessarily over the other.
Right.
It'll be 1st and 15 from the Ashland 47-yard line. The yard to gain is the Henley 37. And another whistle pre-snap, and that will bring us to the end of the first quarter. Henley up 20-0 as they have taken control of this ball game early. After 12 minutes, the Hornets up 3 scores as we continue our coverage of Hornets football on 104.3 and 960 Sports with HO on mybasin.com.
Wait, all I do is wait. So lonely, I just sigh and moan. Seems like I've been waiting forever, wondering if you're coming home. I just saw your face, I know you're coming home. I swear there is no place that feels as good as home. And then I heard your voice, I know you're coming home.
This is where unconditional love and immeasurable happiness reside. This is home. Coltwell Banker, where home begins.
And we're back on 104.3 and 960 Sports with HD Video on mybasin.com. The first play from scrimmage here in the second quarter is a handoff to the outside to Gavin White. A solid gain, almost 10 yards on the play as we welcome those of you listening on 104.3 and 960 Sports. You did miss the first play from scrimmage to begin the second quarter. It was a solid gain by the junior back from Ashland, Gavin White. Will bring up second down and about 5, so call it 10 yards on the play for Ashland. They find themselves trailing the Henley Hornets 20-0 after just 1 quarter of play. And the Hornets have looked good on each side of the football. They've only allowed Ashland to get into plus territory. This is the second time tonight in their 4th possession of the ball game. So we'll see what Harrower has in store now. 4A's leader in passing yards takes the snap. It is a keeper designed run to the outside. Harrower bouncing around. He's got a little bit of room, and he is shoved out of bounds. A big hit along the far sideline. Harrower ends up just short of the first down. That'll bring up 3rd for the Grizzlies.
That was Chris. Was that Jenny or was that Bennett on that tackle? They came from a long way and made a hard hit.
Yeah.
I think it was Luke Bennett. No gain.
No gain. They shoved him out of bounds. Okay, I thought that was a little bit of yardage gain, but that'll bring up 3rd down, and still about 5 to go for the Grizzlies. On 3rd down tonight, they are 2 for 4. Harrower with White in the backfield. The snap, he drops back, looks near side, fires a pass. It is complete. No, incomplete. Dropped the pass, did Shadoan, after he hit the deck. And so that will certainly bring up 4th down. It's a good attempt by Shadoan, but just coming up empty. The junior wide receiver for the Grizzlies tried to make the play, but brings up 4th.
Kyle Nichols is right there. He's doing a good job on his corner spot tonight.
Ashland forced to punt. It'll be Bennett back to receive. Janey back to receive. He is stationed right about the 7-yard line. It looks to be a fake punt run play and run up the gut. Did they get it? It's another one of these plays. He looks to be just on the line.
They'll probably have to measure. That was a nice little tricky play.
It looked like they even tricked the punter because he was looking around for the football, but it was a direct snap to one of the other players in the backfield who just ran it up the gut.
Yeah, and they will have to measure, I think. It's going to be very close.
We'll see. If you're watching the video stream on mybasin.com, you can see the officials. They're waiting for the chains to come out again. Second time tonight. I do like the thoroughness of the officiating crew tonight. They have done a good job of making sure they get the right call on the field through all of the penalties. And big number 64 is in the way. It looks like they are short, and that is the case for the second time tonight. Ashland coming up inches short on 4th down.
Henley 2 for 2 on those. Nice job of stuffing that play just before the first down marker.
So the Hornets, they are going to take over at the 39-yard line in their own territory with 10:39 to go in the second. Hornets up 20-0. Score here would go a long way for the Hornets. They're pitching a shutout so far, and their offense is humming. 1st and 10 from the 39. Stork sends a man in motion. It's a keeper for Shaw. He cuts his way up the middle. He finds some room. He's up past the 50, down by the 40. On the other side of midfield, Shaw Stork turning on the Jets for a Hornets first down and a gain of 19 on the play.
Shaw showing some nice ball skills on that one. It was kind of a play action. It was supposed to be a reverse type action by the running back. He slipped the ball, kept it, made a nice run.
1st and 10 Hornets from the 41-yard line. This is a handoff to Whitlock coming around the near side. He's got some blockers up past the 40, now inside the 35, the 30. He's cutting up the sideline before falling out of bounds. They're going to mark him down at the 25. A solid gain on the play for about 16 yards and a Hornets first down.
Yeah, we hadn't seen Whitlock carry in a while, and every time he's touched it, he's been successful tonight. So that was a big gainer. He got outside again with that speed. Down the field in a hurry.
1st and 10 from the Ashland 25. The Hornets moving the ball downfield. 3rd play of the drive. This is another handoff to Whitlock. Finds a hole up the middle. Up to the 20 before being stuffed. A gain of 5 or 6 on the play, and second down coming up for the Hornets.
Another good push by the offensive line. When you're getting 5, 6, 7 yards a shot up the middle, that's some good effort by your line for sure.
Whitlock on the season so far is averaging 8 yards per carry. You'll take that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Second and 5 for the Hornets. Stork takes a snap, rolls over to his right, fires across the field. It is caught by Janney inside the 10. A first down for the Hornets, first and goal.
That's one of those plays. There was pretty good coverage down there, but Janney made a nice grab, kind of out away from him, and shot through the ball right where he needed to. Good throw and catch.
9:13 to go in the second. In a 20-0 ball game, the Hornets in the lead. Receiver to the near side is Sheen. Two men set out to the far side for Stork and Whitlock to his left. This is a direct snap to Stork. He takes some time, tries to trudge up the middle, cut back, tried to go right, and ended up being tackled for a loss of about 3 yards on the play. Stork second-guessed himself a bit on that one and dropped for a loss.
I think that was Ray Hart in there for the Grizzlies. He read that one just right. A good defensive play. Loss on the play.
Second and goal from the 11. Well, they're going to mark it at the 10. It was still a loss of a couple on the play, and still second and goal. There's 8.5 to go in the half. Henley up 20-0. This is going to be a handoff to Whitlock. Sweep along the near side. He battles up inside the 5, brought down at the 3. So a gain of 7 on the play brings up third and goal.
Left side of that Henley line making a nice crease for Logan. And Henley's looking to score again.
Third and goal from the 4-yard line. Two receivers to either side of Stork. Whitlock off to his left. It's a handoff to Logan, who tries to battle up the middle, and he is in for a Hornets touchdown.
Another solid drive for the Hornets.
That one from 4 yards out. Whitlock's first touchdown of the night on the season for Logan. That is his 6th touchdown. Now awaiting the extra point from Owen Sheen. The kick, a line drive, is good. And the Hornets up 27-0 with 7:48 to go in the second quarter against the Ashland Grizzlies. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more Hornets football on 104.3 and 960 Sports with HD video on myson.com.
Oregon Tech and women basketball season tickets are on sale now, starting at just $75 for 30 games. Come help us celebrate our 75th anniversary and cheer on the Hustlin' Owls. Reserved season seats start at $175. And our all-new Family Pass gets a family of 4 in on the action starting at just $200. Go to OregonTechOwls.com/tickets to order. We will see you at Danny Miles Court.
And welcome you back to Hornets football on 104.3 and 960 Sports, HD video on mybasin.com. The Hornets up 27-0 over Ashland to kick off Big Sky Conference play on a beautiful Friday night in Ashland, Oregon. My name is Josh Eldridge. Along with me is Kevin Petrick and my good friend Frederick Reuter running the live stream tonight. Kevin, that last drive for Henley, 7 plays, just about 3 minutes, about 2.5 minutes taken off the clock for the Hornets. They put together a solid drive, and they look good.
Yeah, you know, when they eliminate the penalties, they can put a drive together, and they're just having their way. They're calling the play, they're executing the play, and really, they're moving the football just amazing in this first half, aside from those strange penalties we saw, that little run for a while. They're having a good half, 27 points.
7:48 to go in the first half. And Owen Sheen will do the honors of kicking off the football. And it falls off the tee. So, while we wait a second, we will remind you that tonight's game is brought to you in part by Klamath Falls Subaru. Through the Subaru Love Promise and Subaru Share the Love events, Klamath Falls Subaru has donated thousands of dollars to dozens of hometown charities. comfortable and not corporate at Klamath Falls Subaru. Stop by and say hi. All right, the ball is back up on the tee. And now it's in the air as Sheen kicks sort of a line drive, bounces around the 22, fielded at the 10. A bit of a misdirection coming out, but it's going to be White keeping it along the near sideline for Ashland. Spins around a couple of defenders and finally brought down at the 28. Ashland tried to break out something special on special teams, and it garnered them a pretty solid 18-yard return on the kick. Ashland takes over at their own 28.
Nolan Northcutt and Chris Janney teamed up on that tackle.
So the Grizzlies offense takes over with 7:40 to go in the second quarter. So far tonight, Ashland 6 first downs. They are 2 for 5 on third down conversions, 0 for 2 on fourth down conversions. And looking to put together a scoring drive together. They have been held off the scoreboard at home tonight. 1st and 10 from the 28. 3 receivers to the far side, tight end to the near side for Ashland. It's a snap, Harrower looking across the middle, unleashes a ball downfield. It is going to be intercepted at the 30. Henley comes away with another turnover.
I think that was Chris Janney.
Yeah, that was number 2 out there. Janney with a big play. Harrower lofted one up there. There were 3 Hornets and 1 Grizzly, and Henley comes away with a football.
You know what? That was Luke Bennett. There's kind of a dead spot with the lighting over there, and 2 and 6 look very similar. I believe that was Luke. And there were 4 defensive backs and only 2 receivers for Ashland. So Henley did a nice job of defending that play for sure and came up with another interception.
In terms of an interception, that ball was thrown way downfield, almost functioned as a punt in a way.
Right.
As Henley will take over at their own 25-yard line. This is going to be a handoff to Whitlock. Finds some room up the middle, up past the 35, now the 40. He's got room in front of him, up past midfield, now the 40. Inside the 35, the 30. He's finally dragged down, and a huge play for Logan Whitlock up the middle.
If Noah Schrader hadn't have caught him, he would have went all the way. Another long run for Logan Whitlock.
Call it 48 yards on the run for Whitlock. And Henley has done a great job of flipping field position. They haven't spent too much time in their own territory tonight.
No, they're getting long plays, and they're executing their offense just the way they want to.
1st and 10 from the 27. Stork drops back to pass, rolling to his right now, trying to find some room to his left. He's under pressure. He is going to be dragged down. No, he stays on his feet. Unleashes one downfield. It's picked off by White at the 15. He brings it up to the 20. There is a flag down on the field. Stork stayed on his feet, tried to make a heroic play, and it was picked off by White, the junior. But now we have to sort out the penalties. That was thrown right at about where the interception was caught. So discussion by the officials, and again, they've done a good job of getting it right through a lot of conversation. We'll see what it is. Another illegal man downfield for the Hornets is declined, so it will be Ashland football after the interception. That is Stork's 2nd pick of the year.
He made some nice plays to get out of a few tackles on that scramble.
Yes, he did.
It looked to me like the ball was just kind of flipped in the air. It looked like it might have just slipped, because I don't think he necessarily threw it downfield. Kind of slipped out of his hand and went toward the middle of the field. His receivers were downfield, so not sure exactly what happened, but a strange play. And Ashland gets a break.
Well, Ashland gets the ball right back basically where they were, starting this drive at the 25. Before their pick, they were at the 28. So, effectively, no harm, no foul, as this will be a run up the gut. White trying to find some room. He is stuffed after a gain of 1, maybe 2 on the play. 2nd down, Grizzlies coming up, and it looks like there is a player down on the field. We will hope that he's okay as the trainer comes out. In the meantime, we will remind you that this game is brought to you in part by Mountain Mike's Pizza. Refuel after the game at Mountain Mike's Pizza. You've earned a pizza made with 100% whole milk mozzarella and toppings piled so high that you'll need a mountain guide to reach the top. Mountain Mike's Pizza on Washburn near Walmart Shopping Center. Mountain Mike's Pizza is pizza the way it ought to be. As a little bit over on the far sideline, if you're watching the HD video stream tonight, you can see the Henley faithful, which made the trip to Ashland. A good turnout against Crater last week, and even a few of them making the trip to Seaside. So you Henley parents out there and families, appreciate you making the trip and supporting these young men on having a pretty good season so far, Kev.
Very good. Very good. You don't really know what to expect sometimes. A lot of new faces in that starting lineup, but Henley's done just a terrific job through almost 2.5 games here.
And as we are talking about some things happening in the Big Sky Conference, we do have an update score from Mazama taking on Marist. Mazama, the number 1 team in the 4A, and you also have Marist, who is the number 2 team in the 4A, going at each other at Viking Field, the new Viking Field with turf. Mazama is up 21-0. Kev, that Viking squad is looking mighty scary across the way. And they always look good under Coach Vic Lease, but you knock off the 3rd best team. You're in front of the 2nd best team. You are, by the coach's standards, the best team. They look good.
Yeah, and teams just don't like coming to Klamath Falls.
No.
So that makes it even harder. So you get a good team with a good home game like that, and Mazama showing that they may well be the best team.
Still a lot of football left to be played in the season. But both of these squads from the Klamath Basin look good. I'd be curious to see how Klamath Union is doing tonight against Hidden Valley at Modoc Field. As it looks like injured players off the field, wishing the best to him. Players are back out there ready for some football. It is 2nd and 8 as Ashland has got possession of the ball at their own 27-0 Hornets lead. It's a handoff to White. He cuts along the far side before trying to find his way up the middle. Falls forward. A gain of 3 on the play brings up 3rd and 5.
A few Hornets helping out on that stop. Owen Northcutt, one of them. He's having quite a game.
Certainly is. 3rd and 5 for the Grizzlies coming up. So far tonight, they are 2 for 5 on such attempts. Haven't had too much luck in these late down situations. They started out 2 of 2, and Henley has seemed to figure out the formula. We'll see where they go now on 3rd and 5 at their own 30. Harrower takes the snap, drops back to pass, looks for the quick route. It is completed. A first down. In on the catch is Shadowan. Call it a 10-yard catch and an Ashland first down.
Kyle Nichols over there, and he's doing a good job. He's making sure, first of all, that receiver's not going to break the long one. So he at times he is playing a little deeper than maybe you want, but it's a good thing to do, a good safe play when you're up 27, and he's right there to make the tackle.
1st and 10 from the 41. This is going to be a handoff to White along the far side. He is tripped up in the backfield, but powers forward for a gain of 1. 2nd down on the way.
Did you see who almost had him in the backfield? That was Shaw Storkin on defense a little bit.
You know, you and I were talking about whether or not they would play Shaw on defense a little bit with these quick wide receivers for Ashland, and you're right, he is out there. The quarterback playing some safety. It is an interesting choice by the Henley coaching staff, but I think one that they feel confident in.
Well, the thing is, he's a very good safety.
Yes.
He's a very good defensive back.
And he played safety as a sophomore, right? He
yeah.
was a junior, and he switched to quarterback as a junior. 2nd and 9. This is a play-action pass. Harrower in the pocket, looking along the far sideline, finds a receiver downfield and is brought down after a gain of about 10 on the play. That looked to be Cash Coda on the far sideline making the catch.
Wyatt Fussell with the stop. And just like we have been saying, if you give Harrower some time, he will make a good throw, and he did that time.
9th first down of the night for Ashland. As it'll be 1st and 10 now from the Henley 43-yard line. Ashland moving downfield towards Ashland High School and in a way towards Southern Oregon University, which is just across the street. The Raiders, of course, playing College of Idaho this weekend. 1st and 10. The throw downfield is going to be incomplete. Intended target was Lenners, about 15 yards downfield, but the toss towards the sideline and out of bounds. 2nd and 10 on the way for the Grizzlies.
Henley doing a nice job of defending that deep out. They've really strengthened their coverage on the sidelines especially. So those routes have been hard to hit deep. They're able to hit a few short ones and a couple in the middle that we've seen. But those deep outs, Henley is all over those.
3:53 to go in the first half, and Henley up 27-0 over Ashland. It is 2nd and 10 for the Grizzlies at the Henley 43-yard line along the far hash. The Ashland Grizzlies drive from left to right across your radio dial. Here it is, 2nd and 10. Harrower going to hand this one off to White, who is wrapped up, breaks through a tackle, and brought down after a short gain of 1 or 2 on the play. Brings up 3rd.
Low to Hornets there with the stop. Juan Manzo made the initial contact.
Manzo, a senior captain for this Hornets club, the captain of the line. There's a lot of leaders on this defense for the Hornets. Owen Northcutt has done an extravagant job. I'd say Braden Morris, he's another captain. He's in that field as well. There is a flag on the play, and this one is going against the Grizzlies, so they're going to walk this one back.
I think Henley's defense was somewhat of a question mark coming into the season. We knew the offense could score. We've kind of seen that, but this defense has really played very, very well.
So as a 10-yard penalty brings up 2nd and 20 for the Grizzlies. They are now at their own 49-yard line. Harrower drops back to pass, fires one deep over the middle. It is caught at the 30, brought down at the 27-yard line. In on the catch for Ashland was Noah Schrader, the junior, making the reception and moving the sticks on a 24-yard catch. First down, Grizzlies.
That's probably the first time tonight where they just had a guy wide open.
Yeah.
He was wide open quite a ways down the field, and Kyle Nichols stepped in to make the stop there.
3:20 to go in the first half. Henley up 27-0, and Ashland in probably the best field position they've had all night. A timeout is called, this time again by the Hornets. They didn't like what they saw defensively, so they are calling their second timeout of the half. In the meantime, we will remind you that this game is brought to you by Les Schwab Tires. Having the right set of tires and wheels on your vehicle is just part of an essential safety checklist. That's why Les Schwab does more than install just tires and wheels. You can come on in for a free pre-trip safety check, and they're going to help make sure that everything is in working order at Les Schwab Tires. 27-0 Henley, 3:14 to go in the first half. Ashland has the ball, and like I said, Kev, they've got probably the best field position they've had all night. A good opportunity for the Grizzlies to get on the board here. It's up to this Henley defense to try to put the stop on that.
Yeah, Ashland's looked good this drive, made some nice plays. I think Henley's been running some personnel in and out more on this drive. I think that's what caused the timeout here. They didn't quite have the people on the field that they wanted, so they're sorting that out.
Well, the Hornets' defense is back out there as the Ashland offense follows suit. One receiver to the near side for the Grizzlies, set out wide. They've got two on the left side of Harrower, and White off to his left as well. And it looks like they're moving to more of a bunch set on the near side. Harrower takes the snap. He's rolling out to his left, trying to find some room, fires one across the field. It is out of bounds. And that will bring up second down for the Grizzlies.
Once again, fantastic coverage by the Hornets. There was just nowhere to throw that football. He just had to throw it out of bounds.
2nd and 10 from the Henley 28-yard line. And best field position Ashland has had tonight, coming off the back of their biggest play of the evening just a few minutes ago. They've had trouble moving the ball on the Hornets, but their defensive backs, like you said, Kevin, did a great job covering these quick receivers for Ashland. Second and 10 from the 28. Grizzlies moving downfield. Harrower takes the snap. He's looking near sideline. The ball is caught by Ashland's number 3. That's Arik Shadoan. And good for an Ashland first down, 10-yard reception.
That was just that little out route that we've seen all night. And they're very good at completing that. And that was enough for a first down.
11th play of the drive coming up for Ashland. They have put together a sizable drive. They've held onto the football for about 4 minutes as well. First and 10 at the Henley 18. This looks to be an option. They're going to hand it off to White, who gets wrapped up and dragged down in the backfield. The Hornets doing a good job of getting in the backfield there, and a loss of 3 about on the play.
And Northcutt, very strong in there. When he gets you stood up, odds are you're not going anywhere. He'll throw you right back, and he did that time. He must have 4 or 5 or 6 tackles this half.
2:05 to go in the second quarter. It'll be 2nd and 14 for the Grizzlies as they are in Henley territory at the 22. Harrower takes the snap, drops back, looks to his near side, pump fakes, and is going to be hit. He threw the ball. It looked like it's going to be incomplete. They took forever to call that an incomplete pass. I'm sitting here waiting for him. And yes, that's going to be an incomplete forward pass on the play. Coach Stork is out of the field, and I think he was questioning whether or not that was a forward pass. It most certainly was from where we're sitting.
Yeah, Harrower kind of had his arm back ready to throw it and got it just forward, and Northcutt put the hit on him and knocked the ball down the field. It was almost a fumble.
Again, the officials making the right call on the play. I think once again it'll be 3rd and 14 for the Ashland Grizzlies. $1:46 to go in the first half. 27-0 Hornets. Harrower in an empty backfield. Takes the snap, drops back, surveys the field, fires one towards the end zone, and it is incomplete, but a flag down.
No, he caught it.
Oh, he did catch it. A flag down on the field regardless. We'll see which one this way goes. It is Arik Shadoan on the catch. But again, the flag right at the side of the catch. They're calling it a touchdown so far, and now we have to wait for the signal. Pass interference, it looks like. Touchdown is going to be good. Yes, pass interference defense. So touchdown Ashland in the late going of the first half. It was Shadoan on the catch. Ran a nice little fade route there and made the catch after 12 plays of this drive.
That was a nice throw.
Yeah, it was.
He really
well
put that
placed.
on a line. Yeah, it was a little narrow window. He put it right in there.
All right, now Ashland attempting the extra point. The kick is up, and it is good. The kicker, Wilson Wildman, converting there, makes it a 20-point game, 27-7 with 1:40 to go in the first half. Ashland capping off a 12-play, 75-yard drive lasting 4 minutes and 50 seconds. A good drive put together by the Grizzlies, and that is, I think, what we expected from Ashland coming into this game. Some good deep passes, nice running game, and they finally put it together to convert in some points there.
Yeah, Ashland should feel good about that drive. That's what they wanted to do. And in the first game of the year against Seaside, that was the hardest thing to overcome for Henley. If you put a long drive together and keep that offense off the field, that's your best chance.
Right.
So a long drive that ends in a score, well done by the Grizzlies.
Yeah, and you mentioned getting off the field for the defense. That was the first time that it seemed like they really weren't able to do that twice on that drive.
Right.
Ashland converted on 3rd down. So that was a good drive by the Grizzlies there to finally get them up on the board, 27-7 with 1:40 to go in the first half. And after the pass interference call, they're going to be kicking this one off from the Henley 45. So it's a 15-yard penalty that's applied to the kick. Right here is how this is going. So we'll see if Henley's special teams changes. The guy's backing up just a few yards. And I think the Ashland coaching staff is just trying to tell him to send it. Send it into the end zone. Get the touchback. Don't let these guys in the backfield who are quick get the jump on you.
It's a good strategy.
I would think so.
I like that.
All right, the kick is up, and it will bounce into the end zone. A touchback. Henley takes over at the 20 with 1:40 to go in the first half. Stick with us at halftime. We'll have a breakdown of the stats in the game as we have it thus far. We'll also take a look around the state, hopefully another update on the Mazama Marist game, along with some of the other things happening in the Klamath Basin tonight. We'll take a look at it all during halftime in just a few minutes. So Henley offense set to take the field. Last time it was a short possession for the Hornets, only 2 plays. It ended with a Shaw Stork interception. Hoping for different fortunes here and maybe answer the call to the touchdown that Ashland put up on the previous possession.
We'll see how Henley does. They've been very successful in 2-minute drives this year so far.
1:40 on the clock, 27-7, Henley leads. They take it at their own 20. Driving from right to left. Stork takes the snap. It is going to be a handoff to Whitlock along the far side. He's got some room up past the 35, up past the 40, the 45, 50. Whitlock has got some room. He's up past midfield, now crosses the 30. Down to the other side of the field. He's up past the 25, the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Hornets. How about that for a 2-minute drill, Kev? 1 play, 1 score. Henley up 33-7.
They are very good at scoring quickly. Logan Whitlock that was a nice run. He could have just taken it down the sideline and probably stepped out of bounds at about the 20 or 15, but decided to cut that back the other way. Made a really nice cut back against the defense, and he was able to get all the way in.
Whitlock's second touchdown of the night. That one from 80 yards out. Now Sheen to kick the extra point. That was a crazy play for Whitlock. The kick is up, and it is good. The Hornets up 34-7 with 1:22 to go in the first half. And, that is how you answer the call after a long scoring play. Now the thing that's interesting, though, is that Henley's defense has only had 2 plays off the field after a 12-play drive before. So you wonder how much energy this defense has left going into the locker room at halftime. Ashland has an opportunity. They've got 3 timeouts. They've got 1.5 minutes left. Henley's not out of it here in the first half. They've still got to play defense here, and the defense, again, after 13 plays, they could still be breathing a little heavy.
Sure, and Ashland knows how to throw the football, so they're not going to be worried about this 1:22 left. They'll put together some offense and try to score.
All right, Henley to kick it off. Back to receive for Ashland is White and Schrader.
Trying to get that ball just right on the tee. I don't know why it fell down last time. There's no wind.
Yeah, hardly anything, and temperatures dropping as well as well. They can't get it that time either.
I don't know what's going on with this football.
It probably is the tee, really.
Trying to set it on there just right.
Will it stay is the question. All right, 34-7, Henley leads. The kick is up. It's going to be fielded at the 20 by Satterin, and he brings it up past the 30. Call it a return of about 13 on the play, and Ashland will start this possession at their own 33. 1:19.
It was really late flag.
Where is it thrown? Personal foul against Ashland.
Yeah, the players were coming off the field. It was long after the play was over, and someone got a little chippy.
It will be Ashland football. They will not start at the 33. And that is the second personal foul that we've seen tonight against the Grizzlies.
Chris Janney made the stop on the initial run back, and this will push the ball even further. It's like about the 18.
All right, the 18, still 1:19 to go, and Ashland put together a 12-play drive on their last possession that went 75 yards. Similar distance here. A little bit longer. We'll see what kind of drive that JoJo Harrower and the Ashland Grizzlies can put together. 1st and 10. Weak snap. Harrower finds the screen. That was Schrader on the catch for about 7.
Logan Whitlock made the stop. He hasn't had to make as many tackles tonight because the ball's been more to the outside. But he's still playing that middle linebacker area. He and Nolan Northcutt.
2nd and 2 is the official measurement. Harrower drops back to pass, fires one over the middle, and it's intercepted. And taking it to the house,
Mark Carpenter.
Carpenter, what a pick six. And Henley scores again, 40-7, no flags down. And a big play for the Henley defense. They finally got the pick they were looking for, and that's going for 6.
He read that just right. That's one thing when you throw the ball a lot. You might get some long plays in your favor, but you also might get a defense that starts to jump some of those routes. And he saw exactly where that was going, and Mark just stepped right there, made the catch. Easy touchdown.
So now the Henley special teams unit comes out, and it looks like they're going to take their final timeout of this half. And in the meantime, we will remind you that this game is brought to you by Abby's Legendary Pizza. If you're looking for a great place to eat, head to one of Abby's Legendary Pizza locations for some of the best pizza in the Klamath Basin at 1919 Austin Street or 2226 Shalleck Street near OIT. Abby's Legendary Pizza is a proud supporter of high school athletics. 40-7, 37 seconds left to go in the first half. Henley trying to make it an even wider margin with an extra point here. And they have looked real good. A defensive touchdown as the second turnover of the game. They look good.
With every snap, they just look more confident. And I think that's the key to Henley's success is any play they run, they feel like they're confident it will get yards or it will score a touchdown. It will be a positive. And these last 2 or 3 drives, they've just looked like every play is just run just as drawn up. And that's what you want.
The Hornets are going to go for 2 here to try to make up for the missed extra point earlier, make it 42-7. We'll see if they're successful with the offense lined up out there. It's going to be a keeper for Stork. He tries to find his way up the middle and is stuffed. So the score will remain 40-7, and Ashland will get the ball back.
I'm not sure why they went for 2 there.
You know, I think it was probably to make up for that, that extra point earlier. And at the same time, you put yourself up by an even number in terms of touchdowns scored, separate yourself a little bit more. I don't dislike the call from the coaching staff, but when you look at it and you're up by 38 points.
Well, I'm trying to. What's the running clock total?
35, and that's what I was thinking as well.
Go.
Yeah.
So that may have been their thinking there. Yes.
I'm thinking so.
Yes.
Start the second half of the running clock situation. 35. Once you get up 35 points, they only stop the clock on official timeouts, team timeouts, and on touchdowns, change of possession, things like that. But you move the chains, clock keeps rolling, step out of bounds, clock keeps rolling, things like that.
So that was the right move there. If they could have got 2, they would have had the running clock. So right idea, but couldn't quite pull it off. And we still have 37 seconds left to play in this half.
Long half of football, closing in on an hour and 18 minutes. There it is. That's the mark right there in the first half. The kick from Sheen is a line drive. Going to kick at the 20, fielded at the 10. This is brought up by Schrader. He's up to the 20, now to the 25. He breaks a tackle up to the 30 and is swarmed by some Hornets at the 30. That is where Ashland will start this possession. No flags down on the field. They start at the 30 with 30 seconds to go in the first half. Henley up 40-7. Last year this game was played as a 35-14 win for the Hornets. This year it has been all Hornets from the opening kick.
Nolan Northcutt making the tackle, and he's hauling around that big cast on his right arm, and that can't be easy for him to play. He's done a nice job.
Here we go. 28 seconds to go in the half. It is 1st and 10 from the Ashland 30. This is going to be a handoff to White. He's got some room up the middle. He gets the first down and then some. A gain of 13 on the play and an Ashland first down. That is the Grizzlies' 11th first down of the night. 7 for the Hornets. And a timeout is going to be called by Coach Bowe for Ashland. And we will stick with you through this timeout. 17 seconds left to go in the first half. Henley up 40-7. This game brought to you in part by Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union. Picking the right path can make the journey easier, the distance shorter, and can assure that you end up at the right place. Whether you're dreaming of owning a home or you just want a great checking account, Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union can help you reach your goals.
Ashland not going to squander this possession. They call the timeout with only 17 seconds in the half. This is a good time to get some reps, too. You can practice your late half offense.
An opportunity to get points here for sure, definitely for Ashland. They will also get the ball back to start the second half. 1st and 10 from the 43. Harrower drops back, tries to find a receiver to the near side. It is incomplete. The intended target is Lenners. 11 seconds left on the clock. Second down coming up for Ashland.
He had plenty of time there, just not a good throw. That happens sometimes. It was a safe throw, though, in front of his receiver. And it stops the clock.
Guys going vertical last time for Ashland. It was Lenners who kind of went to the out route there. 3 guys to the far side, went straight downfield. This time to the near side setup is going to be Shadoan, who has the one receiving touchdown of the night for Ashland. It's a handoff to White up the middle, who gets wrapped up, a gain of 4 on the play. And I don't think we're going to see a timeout called, and that will bring us to the end of the first half. The Hornets lead 40-7. They have controlled this ball game through 24 minutes. We'll break it all down for you when we come back as we continue our coverage of Hornets football all season long on 104.3 and 960 Sports with hdmybasin.com. Hornets 40, Grizzlies 7. We'll be back.
The road can be a crazy place. Uh-oh! That's why Les Schwab Tires fixes brakes, steering, and more. And those guys don't. Keep driving. I'm just glad Les Schwab puts my safety first, so I can backseat drive with confidence.
Help maximize your mileage with a free safety check. Just swing by. Les Schwab Tires, celebrating 70 years of doing the right thing.
To us, pizza the way it ought to be isn't just our slogan. It's our promise and our passion to give you the best dining experience and the best tasting pizza you expect. For over 40 years, we've been making pizza the way it ought to be. Handmade with the freshest and finest ingredients. Our dough is made fresh daily, and we use 100% whole milk mozzarella cheese and toppings edge to edge. There's pizza, and then there's Mountain Mike's Pizza. Pizza the way it ought to be.
This is where unconditional love and immeasurable happiness reside. This is home. Coltwell Banker, where home begins.
Threads. There are many threads that run through our region. There are churches and schools and Little League teams that bring us together and bind us into communities. There are roads and cars. There are houses and jobs and businesses, all woven together to make the fabric of our communities. There are financial threads that are part of that tapestry as well. For over 80 years, it's been our pleasure to be headquartered here, providing financial services to generations of our friends and neighbors. From that first savings account, the retirement planning, and all of the cars and houses and groceries in between, we keep your money local, investing it back into our communities, adding more threads to the fabric to make our communities stronger. Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union. Find your path.
It's halftime in beautiful Ashland, Oregon tonight. The Henley Hornets up 40-7 after 24 minutes of play. They have scored let's see here, 5 times tonight, 6 times, along with that pick 6 on the defensive end. They've turned the ball over on defense. They've broken big plays on offense. The Hornets have controlled this game from the very opening possession, which ended in a touchdown.
Yeah, a couple things that stood out for me in that first half. I think Ashland might be a little surprised at the speed, the team speed of Henley, especially on defense, and the speed of their defensive backs. Not a lot of receivers open downfield. Henley's quick, and when those balls are thrown deep and there's a lot of air under the football, Henley's able to recover. They've done a nice job. The other thing maybe the coaches are talking about, you may want to block Owen Northcutt. I mean, he has been on. He made that last tackle of the half. He's been on a lot of plays, really dominating his side, both offensively and defensively.
Along with Owen Northcutt, I mean, there's been guys getting in the backfield. We've called Juan Manzo's name a couple of times, but this middle linebacking group of Nolan Northcutt and Logan Whitlock, they haven't had to do too much of the work because these guys in the defensive front they're just clogging up the middle. And again, you said those defensive backs doing a really great job. Now this Henley offense has been a different story, like we've talked about. Quick strikes to Owen Sheen, to Luke Bennett from more than 30 yards out. Stork struck one himself, a 55-yard run. Whitlock punched one in from 80 yards out. This Hornets offense is replicating a little bit of what we saw last year. Big plays, explosive offense.
Right.
They are not wasting any time. Clearly, you put up 40 points in 24 minutes.
Right, and what are you saying in the locker room if you're Ashland's defense? Their running game is unstoppable. Their passing game is terrific. That's Henley's strength always, is they are able to mix it up so well this season and last. You just don't know what you're going to get, and they're able to execute so well, whether it's a pass or a run. Right now, they're just having their way, as they did last week as well. The offense playing really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Henley up 40-7 after just one half of football. They have controlled this game, opening up Big Sky Conference play. We'll talk a little bit about the conference as we continue our halftime show. We'll take a look around the league. Mazama, the number 1 team in the 4A, according to the latest coaches poll, is taking on Marist tonight, the number 2 team, according to the latest coaches poll. We'll have a score update on that game when we come back, as well as taking a look around the rest of the state as we continue our coverage of Henley Hornets football on 104.3 and 960 Sports with HD video on MyBase.com.
COVID, I gained over 24 pounds. I lost motivation in working out. I lost motivation in eating healthy. And for me, if I'm not active, I just don't eat well. But then I started taking a class at Harbor's gym called High Low. The first week I felt like I didn't fit in and I couldn't do it, but the instructor was so kind and thanked me for coming and told me how well I did. I was like, no, I wasn't, but it made me come back the next week and the next week. And soon enough, I was keeping up with the class. I started introducing more classes, and then going Saturdays, I learned how to lift weights accurately with repetition. I started lifting on my own. I started golfing too with my husband. And all of a sudden, I was buying salads instead of sandwiches. Small victories happened week by week, and it's 100% because of Harbor, their staff, their gym, the golf. My husband is getting out of the house and working out with me. His golf game is increasing, we're lifting together, and we feel good. Harbor, where I lost my reins and got my gains.
To us, pizza the way it ought to be isn't just our slogan. It's our promise and our passion to give you the best dining experience and the best tasting pizza you expect. For over 40 years, we've been making pizza the way it ought to be. Handmade with the freshest and finest ingredients. Our dough is made fresh daily, and we use 100% whole milk mozzarella cheese and toppings edge to edge. There's pizza, and then there's Mountain Mike's Pizza. Pizza the way it ought to be.
Hi, I'm Rob Cedar, General Manager of Clown Falls Honda and Clown Falls Subaru. I've lived here my whole life. Most of our employees have lived here their whole life too. Our sales, service, parts, and body shop teams are all staffed with experienced local folks. You know them, and they know you. Our dealerships are comfortable and not corporate. Comfortable means we're focused on you. I'm Rob, and I'm glad to know you.
And we welcome you back to more Henley football on 104.3 and 960 Sports with HD video on mybasin.com. After one half of football tonight, Henley up 40-7. This is kicking off Big Sky Conference play tonight, and Ashland, a new addition to the conference, along with North Bend and Marshfield. Kev, it's looking up to be a pretty competitive conference. Henley is 2-0, Mazama is 2-0 in non-conference play. It's looking real interesting with all these teams being added into the conference this year. You know, They tried to make a solid league in Eastern Oregon, cause some other teams to move around, and I'm real happy with the way our conference is shaken out. There's some challenges. There's some teams that you don't quite know what you're going to get, like Klamath Union and Hidden Valley. And here at Ashland, I think another team we didn't know quite what we were going to get, but it's been exciting so far.
Yeah, you could argue it's early in the year, but this conference could be the strongest in the state. I mean, by the time it all shakes out. We have a lot of good teams playing at the top, and teams that were great last year, such as Marshfield, throw them in the mix too. It's very competitive. We'll see some good games weeks 6, 7, 8 for sure.
Certainly. As we take just a quick look at the standings, after just 2 weeks, Henley-Mazama 2-0 at the top of the list, followed by everyone else who is 1-1. Ashland, North Bend, Klamath Union, Hidden Valley, and Marshfield are each 1-1. A couple of things of note: North Bend and Marshfield have each yet to score 30 points on the season. And then you look at a team like Hidden Valley, who is 1-1, who has scored 80 points on the season and only given up 38. So it's interesting the way that this is shaken out in non-league. We've got one non-league game going on for Big Sky teams tonight. The number 1 team, according to the 4A coaches, Mazama, taking on the number 2 team, according to the 4A coaches, in Marist. And right now, Mazama is having their way with the Spartans. 28-0 was the last update we got. For number 1 taking on number 2, that differential you don't really expect to see. I think that just tells you how good Mazama might be this season.
Yeah, that's an impressive win, and they've had a couple of tough games. Estacada also was highly ranked. So the Basin teams, I can't remember teams starting the season this high. I mean, 2 teams at number 1 in different classifications, and Henley's right there. Some good football in the Basin.
And you mentioned the other team that's number 1 in their respective classification is Lost River in 1A 8-man football. And coincidentally, they're also playing the number 2 team in 1A 8-man football. That game is tomorrow at, I think, 1:30 is kickoff at St. Paul. It's real interesting. That division with Lost River, Bonanza, Cross Point, Chiloquin, a handful of other schools, I think that's, again, it's one of those situations where I think Bonanza has a really good team. Lost River obviously is a top team in the state. There's a lot of interesting teams in the Basin. Like you said, we've got about 7 or so teams that we cover, and 4 of those 7 teams are in the top 10 in whatever classification they're in. That's exciting.
That is. That's rare, and it's a fun situation for us to be in, to follow it all. Yeah.
Certainly, as we take a look around the Big Sky Conference, some of the other conference games going on tonight. Klamath Union taking on Hidden Valley at Modoc Field at Klamath Union High School. That'll certainly be an interesting game. 2 teams that are, in a way, kind of rebuilding, in a sense. A lot of new faces, and the coaching staff at Klamath Union and Hidden Valley graduated a lot of talent in the last couple years, so we'll see what we get from the Mustangs against the Pelicans. Also, on the coast, North Bend is playing host to Marshfield. Both of those teams, new additions to the Big Sky Conference, getting to kind of test the waters against each other, which will certainly be interesting, as that's what's happening in the Big Sky Conference tonight. Talked a little bit about some of the other Klamath Basin teams in action this evening. We talked about Lost River. Bonanza is on the road tonight against Mohawk. Cross Point Christian at Alsea High School in 1A 8-man football. Again, that division is looking mighty tough as well. And as we look around the state and some college football, Oregon taking on BYU tomorrow at 12:30. Should be an interesting game there. Then you've got Oregon State and Montana State at 3 o'clock. The Beavers looking to grab another win there. And then, of course, for those of you listening here in Ashland or Southern Oregon Raiders fans, taking on College of Idaho to kick off Frontier League play. That should be an interesting matchup as well. A lot of football. Temperatures dropping. It's starting to feel like it. I'm ready for Halloween. I'm ready for more football. I'm loving it all.
Definitely. Who do I have to call to get a home game, by the way?
Yeah, well, apparently Cascade next week. It is interesting.
My car's got 3 weeks of fast food wrappers in it. We got to get home.
Yeah, that is a good way to put it. I was not going to bring up the amount of McDonald's in my back seat, but that's a true story. 3 weeks on the road for Henley. It was Seaside in week 1, Crater last week. Here in Jackson County again for this game against Ashland. We are finally back in the Basin next week against Cascade. And what a test that's going to be, too. Still have to get through this one. 3 weeks on the road. I think Henley has, they are well-traveled and a fairly good-sized crowd here in Ashland. They've kind of filed in a little bit after kickoff. Yeah. But definitely a crowd that's kind of on top of you, but I don't think it's phasing the Hornets. I think they've played enough games on the road so far this season to where they can sort of tune out the noise.
Oh, yeah, we're joking around. It's been a great.
I agree.
It's been a great first 3 weeks. You couldn't ask for anything more from from this ball club.
And to be honest, I like going around to different places. You know, I had never been to Seaside before.
Right.
I haven't been to Ashland. So it is a fun kind of season so far for Henley, sort of a tour. They have proven themselves to be one of the best teams in the state. We talked about it a little bit during the break, Kev. They are ranked 5th in the state at the 4A coaches poll. I think that's a good spot for them right now. 5th, you know, you're right on the edge of being considered in that upper echelon of teams, but you still got to prove yourself. I think that's where the Hornets just fell a little bit short last year, and they still find themselves early in this season.
Yeah, there were a lot of expectations, all the publications and the previews, and they expected a lot of this Henley team, and I think that they've answered the call. They played very well against some tough teams on the road, so they should be proud of their efforts.
Really excited to see this second half of football. We're going to take a break, and then we'll talk about the second half ahead as we continue our coverage of Henley Hornets football this season on 104.3 at 960 Sports. At halftime, the Hornets up 40-7 over the Grizzlies. We'll be back.
The road can be a crazy place. Uh-oh! That's why Les Schwab Tires fixes brakes, steering, and more. And those guys don't. Keep driving. I'm just glad Les Schwab puts my safety first, so I can backseat drive with confidence.
Help maximize your mileage with a free safety check. Just swing by. Les Schwab Tires, celebrating 70 years of doing the right thing.
To us, pizza the way it ought to be isn't just our slogan. It's our promise and our passion to give you the best dining experience and the best tasting pizza you expect. For over 40 years, we've been making pizza the way it ought to be. Handmade with the freshest and finest ingredients. Our dough is made fresh daily, and we use 100% whole milk mozzarella cheese and toppings edge to edge. There's pizza, and then there's Mountain Mike's Pizza. Pizza the way it ought to be.
This is where unconditional love and immeasurable happiness reside. This is home. Coldwell Banker, where home begins.
Threads. There are many threads that run through our region. There are churches and schools and Little League teams that bring us together and bind us into communities. There are roads and cars. There are houses and jobs and businesses, all woven together to make the fabric of our communities. There are financial threads that are part of that tapestry as well. For over 80 years, it's been our pleasure to be headquartered here, providing financial services to generations of our friends and neighbors. From that first savings account, to retirement planning, and all of the cars and houses and groceries in between, we keep your money local, investing it back into our communities, adding more threads to the fabric to make our communities stronger. Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union. Find your path.
$40-7 at halftime. The Hornets in front of the Grizzlies. We're just about a minute away from kickoff in the second half. Kev, before we get started in the second half, Hornets up big. Do you have any thoughts before we get going here?
Not really. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of personnel coming in for Henley here in this, maybe even early in the third quarter. We'll see some new players, and they can get some reps. Yeah.
All right. Well, we are ready for football. The Grizzlies will start with possession. An important drive on the way for the Grizzlies. If they want a prayer in this game, they're going to need to come away with some kind of points. 24 minutes in the ball game as we begin the third quarter. The Grizzlies tonight in white helmets with the Grizzly paw on the side. Red jerseys with white numbering and white pants with red trim. The Hornets tonight, navy blue helmets with the yellow H and the yellow stripe. Yellow jerseys with yellow numbering, navy blue trim, yellow pants, and a navy blue stripe. The kick is up, fielded at the 15, bobbled for a second, but White picks it up, brings it up past the 25, down to the 30, a late flag after the tackle is made, and we'll see what the call ends up being. It looks to be an illegal block in the back for Ashland, so this one coming back. And Kev, one thing that we didn't really touch on at halftime was the amount of penalties in that first half against both teams. Really slowed the game down, and already we're seeing a flag on the very first play, the kickoff here in the third quarter.
Yeah, there was about 5 or 6 minutes there of game clock where there was just penalty after penalty. It cleaned up a little bit late, but you're right, it definitely slowed the game down, and we're starting off with one here in the second half.
So the Grizzlies will start at their own 21. 11:52 to go on the clock in the third quarter. 47, Henley leads. Hornets looking to come away with league win number 1. What were you about to say, Kev?
I was going to say, Ashland here, they're just going to, their coaches are telling them just, the score is 0-0, come out, try to win this half, and just try to execute for our games down the road. I think that's going to be their focus here in the second half.
First play from scrimmage, a play-action pass intended for Lenners over the middle for Ashland. Falls incomplete. Will bring up 2nd and 10. And I think you make a good point. You know, you're down 33. It's not impossible, improbable maybe. Coming away with points on each and every drive will certainly go a long way. And I think you're right. Winning every possession is important for Ashland.
Right.
Here.
What's going to be best for your team going forward?
Certainly. 2nd and 10 for the Grizzlies. Harrower takes the snap, handoff along the near side, and carrying that one, a nice carry by Jacob Ortega, the sophomore running back, as he crawls forward for a nice gain of 5 or 6 on the play. Brings up 3rd down for the Grizzlies, and that's the first time that we've seen Ortega carry the football tonight, as he checks off the field with one shoe in hand, and White back on the field.
Nolan Northcutt made the stop. He also made the stop on the kickoff return. We've been calling his name quite a bit tonight as well.
3rd and 3 is the official measurement. 3rd and a long 3 at that. Harrower with an empty backfield. Takes the snap, looks over the middle, finds the short pass. It is caught. Making the catch was White. A gain of 2.5 on the play. Looked to be just short of the first down marker, so it'll be 4th and inches for the Grizzlies. They are 0 for 2 on 4th down conversion attempts tonight. By the way, that makes them 4 for 8 on 3rd down conversions after that failed attempt here. So bringing up 4th, and it looks like the Ashland Grizzlies content to leave the offense out on the field. Really no other choice at this point in the ball game. You only have a yard to gain. We'll see if they can figure it out this time. Fourth and inches. However, takes the snap. A handoff to Ortega. He gets the first down and then some. He's trucking forward. He gets a gain of 15 on the play. Ortega busting forward and downfield. Finally brought down at the 45. First down, Grizzlies.
He's a big back. We hadn't seen him, and he's quite a bit bigger than the other running backs. That was a nice carry.
1st and 10 from the Ashland 45 as they drive from left to right. 10:40 to go in the third quarter. 40-7. Henley leads. Harrower takes the snap, drops back to pass, looks short, and it's caught by White. He cuts upfield. He's up past the 40. Knocked out of bounds at the 36. First down, and a gain of 16.
Harrower is only a sophomore, and you can really see the skill that he has. He put nice touch on that pass. Had to loop it right over a defender and put it right to his receiver. That was a nice throw.
1st and 10 Grizzlies from the 37 is where they officially marked it. Now into Henley territory as the Grizzlies trail 40-7. Harrower, play action pass, slant over the middle. Lenners makes the catch. And that is another first down for the Grizzlies on a gain of 14. They're moving the ball nicely here, Kev.
They are moving the football. Second half.
It'll be 1st and 10 from the Henley 23. This will also be the 6th play of the drive for the Grizzlies. White behind Harrower, who is taking the direct snap. White cuts upfield. He's up past the 25, brought down just at the 20. Call it a gain of 4 or 5 on the play. Interesting direct snap to the running back there for a nice gain.
Yeah, trying something different. I always like that. Give the defense a different look. And that was a successful play. They snapped it right to the running back. He picked up about 4.
Second down on the way for the Grizzlies as Ortega comes off the field for the Grizzlies. Harrower in an empty backfield. 2 receivers to the near side, 2 receivers to the near side, 2 to the far side for JoJo Harrower. Takes the snap. He's looking over the middle, rolling to his right. Has a little bit of room and is going to have to dump that one off incomplete, out of bounds. And so that will bring up 3rd for the Grizzlies. Good coverage downfield.
Good coverage downfield and some good pressure from the line. Haven't really talked about it tonight, but Henley's going mostly with only 3 down linemen on defense, and they're still providing enough of a push to cause problems for Ashland's offense. So those 3 linemen are doing a really nice job. Sometimes they'll bring a 4th in, but good defensive plan tonight.
So that incompletion brings up 3rd and 5. 9:10 to go in the 3rd. 40-7 Henley. Empty backfield for Harrower. 3 receivers to the near side. Harrower takes a snap, drops back, has some time to throw, unloads one towards the end zone, and it is caught for a Grizzlies touchdown. White makes the catch on the far side, and it is now 40-13.
You can tell that's the play Ashland wants to run all night. They like the sideline routes, maybe a pump fake or a move, and then out to the corner of the end zone. And Harrower put that ball right where he needed to. Perfectly thrown for the touchdown.
Ashland waiting for the extra point. To kick it is going to be Wilson Wildman. The snap is low. Having to take it himself, and wrapped up is Wildman, and it's a fumble. It's still a loose ball. Ashland falls on it. And some scuffling around midfield, and there's pushing and shoving. Referees are having to break it up on 2 different portions of the field. There's 2 flags down on 2 different players who are pushing and shoving. Henley coaches are out on the field. Ashland coaches are there as well, and the officials trying to split things up. Now you have to decide who the penalties go against.
Luke Bennett came out of nowhere to get in the backfield and cause that tackle after the missed snap there.
Schrader was on the hold, number 8 for Ashland, and the snap was low. It kind of skipped to him. He tried to take it, run it in himself. He was swatted down. The ball bounced out to the 30-yard line. That's a 28-yard difference between where you would take it. And then there was some scuffling after the play. Here's the call. Personal foul against Ashland. I believe there's 2 against Ashland. Is that what the signal was? 2 personal fouls against the Grizzlies?
Yeah, and there may be an ejection. There were a lot of punches thrown.
Yeah, punches, shoves, yeah.
And you know what? I want to comment on Henley's reaction there. Henley did a nice job of not getting caught up in that.
You know, I will say Luke Bennett was one of the players being shoved.
Absolutely.
He was shoved, threw his hands up immediately, and walked away. Way to show a level head for the Henley junior.
And that's hard. That's hard for a kid in that situation. Someone's throwing punches at you. He didn't react. He backed up, and you know what? The referee saw it, and it all shook out the right way. But that's hard to do, and I commend Henley on their play right there.
Absolutely. And now the officials talking to Coach Bowe for Ashland about again, you said a potential player ejection. There was definitely some shoving going on for Ashland as the sideline still hopping around for the Grizzlies. And unsure if there ended up being one. Regardless, the score 40-13, and Henley leads. Not to take away from the touchdown drive that Ashland put together. It was a solid one. Went 9 plays and 79 yards. in about 3 minutes. A good drive for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, you know, Ashland's averaging 37 points a game their first 2 games, so they can score. And I think we're all a little surprised that they didn't score more in the first half. So they have the capability to score the football, and they were able to put a couple drives together here to pull the score within 27. But they're frustrated, and we saw a little bit of that at the end of that play.
So they're going to have to kick it off from their own 25 after 2 personal foul calls against them. We'll remind you that this game is brought to you in part by Klamath Falls Subaru. Through the Subaru Love Promise and Subaru Share the Love events, Klamath Falls Subaru has donated thousands of dollars to dozens of hometown charities. Comfortable and not corporate at Klamath Falls Subaru. Stop by and say hi. And slow to get things going again. I think both teams sort of trying to calm down. That Ashland group still in a huddle being talked to by an official down by about the 20-yard line. And the officials now creeping away from the Grizzlies as we look to be ready to go here in just a few minutes. You know, if we have a second here, Kev, the Oregon Schools Activities Association released a release today, a press release, and an op-ed column. Do you have a chance to read it about officiating?
I did see that.
Parents? Yeah. I would like to say the OSAA is recruiting officials. If you'd like to get yourself started on your officiating journey, osaa.org/officials. I'll say tonight the officials have done a really great job of keeping this game under control.
I agree, very good.
When sometimes it felt like it hasn't been.
Yeah, they've been terrific tonight. And if you can serve your community in that way, that's a great way to help out.
The kick from Ashland is up. It's fielded at about the 20. Brought up to the 30, now the 35, cutting up to the 40, up to the 45, bringing it up to the 50, and still on his feet, up past the 45, now to the 40. That's Luke Bennett. And a great return on the play gives Hornets great field position to start this next drive at about the 36-yard line.
There is a penalty back at the 43-yard line. I'm not sure what that is all about.
We'll find out. A personal foul against the Grizzlies again. And it's going the other way. A lot of personal fouls against Ashland tonight.
I don't think I've seen Luke run like that. He spun about 3 times, put his head down, and charged. He's really playing aggressively tonight.
Yeah, he stayed on his feet and broke through some contact as well. He has had a fantastic night as well. Luke Bennett also a touchdown catch tonight from 32 yards out. He's getting active on all sides of the football. And after that one was brought out to about the 36, another personal foul is going to go the way of the Grizzlies, which moves the ball upfield 15 yards down to the 23-yard line. Official timeout. And in the meantime,
they're going to talk to the players right here, and
it makes sense. There's been
I like this. We don't see enough of this from the officials. Just you can stop the game, get everybody around, and say, "Listen, guys, we're not putting up with this anymore.
Yeah,
this is not how we do things." And hopefully they'll calm the teams down. That's a good move by a veteran official down there.
I would certainly agree. And like I said, if you would like to start your own officiating journey, whether it's football, whether it's volleyball, baseball, basketball, softball, whatever your sport of choice is, visit osaa.org/officials if you'd like to get things started. All right, 1st and 10 for the Hornets from the 28. Deep into Ashland territory. This is going to be a handoff to Whitlock. He cuts upfield and is wrapped up and wrestled down after a gain of 3 on the play. And 2nd down on the way.
Ray Hart and Nathan Schrader. Nice defensive play for Ashland.
This is Henley's first possession of this half, as they lead 40-13. 2nd and about 8. This one is a play action. It is going to be tossed out to Bennett on the far sideline. He cuts upfield.
That was Janney over there. Janney and Bennett, it's hard to tell the two apart tonight, but that was number 2 out there. And that was a good catch. That ball was kind of sailing high and away, and he put one hand up there and scooped it in there.
That will bring up 3rd and 1. A nice about 6-yard, 7-yard gain by Janney on the play. And so 3rd and 1. The Hornets so far tonight haven't faced 3rd down too much, just 1 for 2. This one is going to be a keeper for Stork. He cuts up the field. He's up inside the 10, brought down before reaching the 5, maybe right at the 5, as that'll be a 1st down for the Hornets and a nice gain by Shaw Stork.
It was a good play fake to Logan Whitlock. He put that ball clear in to his stomach and pulled it clear out. A nice fake.
So he got up inside the 4. There is a player down for the Grizzlies, and in the meantime, we will remind you that tonight's broadcast is brought to you in part by Coldwell Banker Home and Premier Realty. Little things can add up to big bills when you're buying, selling, or owning a home, and Coldwell Banker Home and Premier Realty's exclusive Beyond the Sale guarantees protect buyers, sellers, and homeowners from unexpected repair bills. To learn more, call Coldwell Banker Home and Premier Realty today. Also, a part of the broadcast is Harbor Isles Tennis and Fitness Club. Harbor Isles Tennis and Fitness have the most understanding trainers that you could ask for. They help you get motivated, and their workouts will make you feel accomplished all day long. Harbor Isles Tennis and Fitness wants you to lose those reins and get your gains. And so the Ashland player exiting the field underneath his own power, if not with just a limp, which is a good sign. And we will resume play here shortly. It's going to be first and goal for the Hornets from about the 4 when we get things rolling again.
Yeah, Henley in a real good position to score. On just their first possession. It seems like it's been a longer quarter than it really has been, but this is just their first shot.
Yeah, only 4 minutes into the second half. 8 to go in the third quarter, 40-13 the score. And Henley back on the field, ready for first and goal. A few guys stacked up on the line of scrimmage. Owen Sheen to the near side. This is a direct snap to Shaw. He races into the end zone for a Henley touchdown. Takes it right up the gut and punches it in for 6.
Good job by that line, continuing to dominate up there. Shaw really had no trouble.
That is the 6th touchdown of the night. Pardon me, 7th touchdown of the night for the Hornets. 6th offensive touchdown as Stork punches it in from 4 yards out.
I think we're looking at the same strategy here to go for 2.
Trying to put your team up by 35. And a flag on the near side. Looks to be a false start is going to be the call. A 2-point conversion here would put the Hornets up 35, which would institute a running clock situation. So if they're able to convert, that would be the case. Now, after the false start, it's not going to be from the 2. It'll be from the 7. A little bit of extra field to work with for Henley, too. You don't necessarily hate that penalty. I mean, you never want to see a false start, but it does give you some room to work with if you want to throw the football.
Yeah, it's not going to change their decision, I don't think. So.
And it will not. Offense back out on the field. Same formation for the Hornets. Same man in motion. This is going to be a fake handoff. Throw into the end zone, and Sheen making the catch, and the Hornets put themselves up 35. 48-13 with 7:54 to go in the third quarter. We'll be back as we continue our coverage of Hornets football on 104.3 and 9.6 Sports.
Tech men and women basketball season tickets are on sale now, starting at just $75 for 30 games. Come help us celebrate our 75th anniversary and cheer on the Hustlin' Owls. Reserved season seats start at $175. And our all-new Family Pass gets a family of 4 in on the action starting at just $200. Go to OregonTechOwls.com/tickets to order. We will see you at Danny Miles Court.
And we welcome you back on 104.3 and 960 Sports with HD Video on MyBasin.com. We're in the third quarter, and Henley leads 48-13. A running clock scenario with Henley up 35. They capped off a 5-play, 28-yard drive in about 30 seconds. Henley is now up 35, and they look pretty good, Kev. That last one, a Shaw Stork touchdown punched in from 4 yards out. They get the 2-point conversion with the Owen Sheen catch into the end zone, and the Hornets are right where they want to be here in the third quarter.
Yeah, I credit the Hornets with composure the last 5 or 6 minutes. Things got a little squirrely. Yeah. I don't know if that's a football term or not, but
we'll take it.
It got a little squirrely, and they did a nice job bouncing back, took the ball down the field, got a touchdown.
The kick is up from the Hornets. It is fielded at about the 10 as Schrader had a little bit of trouble picking it up. He brings it up past the 15, now to the 20, not quite to the 25. Call it the 23-yard line And that is where the Grizzlies will start possession. No flags. And we are rolling. 6:40 to go in the third quarter. And again, with the rolling clock scenario, we'll try to update you more and more about how much time is left to go in the third.
Mark Carpenter made the tackle on that special teams play, I should say.
Carpenter's been active on defense tonight. He had that pick 6 earlier in the game. He was active last week against Crater, put his hand on a couple of footballs. He's been good in the secondary and on special teams for the Hornets.
Yeah.
We do have an update from Klamath Union. It is 10-8 Pelicans in the fourth quarter as we enter you back into this game. Harrower takes the snap, rolls out to his right, and making the catch on the near sideline was Satarin. And Ashland player down on the near sideline. The catch would have been good for about 13 yards. And we are stopping the clock at about 5:42 left to go in the third. As we will remind you one more time that this game is brought to you by Mountain Mike's Pizza. Refuel after the game at Mountain Mike's. You've earned a pizza made with 100% whole milk mozzarella and toppings piled so high that you'll need a mountain guide to reach the top. Mountain Mike's Pizza on Washburn near Walmart Shopping Center. Mountain Mike's Pizza. Pizza the way it ought to be. And Klamath Union, we just mentioned, in front of Hidden Valley tonight. It was at 10-8.
Yeah.
That's good for the Pelicans. I liked them coming into that game against the Hidden Valley squad, still sort of looking for an identity. I think Klamath Union is also searching for an identity in a little bit. Their longtime head coach, Tom Smith, added a lot of coaches to his coaching staff this year and has really revitalized that program. They've got a new athletic director out there as well who is really fully on board behind the program. And I like the Pelicans this year.
That's a good matchup for them tonight. That'd be a good win, for sure. They can hang on.
Everyone opening league play tonight, of course, the Hornets here in Ashland. You've got the Pelicans at home against Hidden Valley, and then North Bend is taking on Marshfield tonight. Last score update we got from the Vikings taking on Marist was 28-zip Mazama. Kevin, is there any word on that game?
I don't have an update on that one.
All right, well, 28-0 is the last score we got for the Vikes, as they look to improve to 3-0 in non-conference play. They kick off league play next week. The Hornets take a break from league play next week as they take on Cascade at home. So an interesting way that the schedule has rolled out.
Another top 10 team, yeah.
Yeah, they're number 6 in the state. We're back ready for footballs. The clock is rolling, 1st and 10 from the Ashland 33. Before we start, it looks like it is going to be a false start on the play. And we're going backwards.
Just one of those nights. You just can't get the thing rolling. A lot of stoppages in play tonight.
1st and 15 for the Grizzlies as they are trying to put together some points. 48-13 with 5 to go in the third. Harrower back there with White. 3 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side for Ashland. Harrower rolling out to his left, trying to find a man downfield, unleashes one downfield, and it is incomplete at the 42-yard line. Pardon me, the 37-yard line. Was almost picked off, but will fall harmlessly to the turf.
That was a good adjustment on the ball. The ball was thrown deep, but a little bit short. And looks like maybe it was Kyle Nichols out there.
We'll get you the new faces out there for the Hornets as well as they shuffle in, probably towards the end of this period and the fourth quarter. A lot of starters still out there for Henley right now. 2nd and 15. It's going to be a keeper for Harrower. He sold the fake well. He's moving up along the left sideline. He's got a gain of about 7 before being knocked down. Nice play there.
Yeah, I was going to mention the same thing. That was a really nifty fake. And he ended up keeping the ball and making a nice sprint to the outside. Kyle Nichols again. On that far side, he's getting a lot of tackles over there.
And an official timeout as an injured player looks to be up under his own power, I believe.
That's Harrower.
Yeah.
You don't want that to happen. That's a tough break there.
Looks like he's favoring that right side. Don't want to speculate too much. He does come off the field. A new quarterback into the game for Ashland is going to be Jack McCourt, a junior, getting the nod here in the third quarter of a 48-13 ball game. Here we go, 3rd and 8. This is going to be a handoff to White, and he is wrapped up and dragged down in the backfield. A loss of 1 brings up 4th.
Matt Iverson in there with a tackle, and that was quite a tackle.
The Ashland offense likely staying out there in dire situations like this. 3:15 to go in the third quarter, running clock. 48-13 the score. And no, it looks like the Ashland special teams unit is out there willing to punt the football back to the Hornets. And so no attempt here to go for it on 4th down. They are 0 for 3 on such given attempts. The punt is up, bounces around at the 40, and is going to be downed right about the 34-yard line. That is where the Hornets will start with the football.
You have to make sure on those short punts to tell your players to get out of the way. A couple Hornets a little too close for comfort on that. They almost touched the punt, but they were able to stay away.
Trying to find out if we've got some substitutions coming in for the Hornets offense at this point in the ball game. It's tough to tell so far, but if there are, we will tell you about them. Crossing the 2-minute mark left to go in the third quarter, 48-13 Henley. It's been an interesting trajectory for this Ashland program over the last few years. Coach Bo Lenners in his 5th season with the program, 17-22 overall record. Had the program trending up before COVID, and it really wrecked a lot of the momentum this Ashland team had. We'll tell you more in just a bit as this looks to be a handoff along the far side, up past the 40, now up past the 35, the 45, up past the 50 on the carry for the Hornets. And I don't think that was Whitlock. But a first down nonetheless for the Hornets.
Was that 42? Was that Jason Kern?
Trying to find out.
I believe it was.
Do see Bryson Montag in there, number 1, the sophomore, getting some reps at QB. And also along the near side for the Hornets, I believe that's Kyle Nichols.
Yeah.
I also see Cole Davis in a wide receiver, and I think you were right. That is Jason Kern out there at the running back spot.
This would be nice to give Jason some carries. Logan Whitlock has, for the most part, just about had every carry this season, so it'll be nice to get some more reps for some backup running backs for sure.
All right, 1st and 10 for the Hornets from their own 47. Montag takes the snap, a handoff to Kern, who battles up the middle for a nice gain of 3, maybe 4 on the play.
Good carry. That line is picking up right where the starters left off. Nice aggressive line play.
Under 30 seconds to go now in the third. And the Hornets going to jog off the field along with the Grizzlies as they will let the clock wind down here in the final few seconds of the third quarter. Before we go to break, Mazama over on Marist right now, 42-7. The number 1 team in the state taking it to the number 2 team in the state. We will continue our coverage of this game as we get ready for the fourth quarter in just a few minutes. The Hornets up 48-13 on 104.3 and 960 Sports with HD video on mybasin.com.
There are many threads that run through our region. There are churches and schools and Little League teams that bring us together and bind us into communities. There are roads and cars, there are houses and jobs and businesses, all woven together to make the fabric of our communities. There are financial threads that are part of that tapestry as well. For over 80 years, it's been our pleasure to be headquartered here, providing financial services to generations of our friends and neighbors. From that first savings account, to retirement planning, and all of the cars and houses and groceries in between, we keep your money local, investing it back into our communities, adding more threads to the fabric to make our communities stronger. Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union. Find your path.
We welcome you back on mybasin.com, also 104.3 and 960 Sports. Rolling clock situation in the fourth quarter as the Hornets up on the Ashland Grizzlies 48-13. You missed one play from scrimmage. It was a run. Kern was wrapped up and brought down for a loss. Brings up 3rd and 11 right here. Montag in the backfield for the Hornets. Drops back to pass. Finds one over the middle. It's picked off by Ortega. He's crossing midfield up past the 45 to 40, the 35 to 30. There is a flag down. He's up past the 20, down at the 15. There is a flag down at about the 38-yard line. We'll see where this one goes, but a big play by Ortega and the Ashland Grizzlies.
Ortega's come in the second half to make some nice plays offensively and defensively. Nice interception with a good run back. He's a strong runner.
So this one's still going for Ashland as I'm thinking that was what the Whitecaps signaled here, but I didn't quite see the signal. So this one's coming back quite a ways, it looks like, to the 47 on the other side of midfield. So a big penalty going against the Grizzlies there. That is where they will start with about 9:50 to go in the ball game.
Yeah, it takes away from a nice run back, but they do get the ball. Made a good defensive stand. And I'm looking to see who was quarterback. I believe Harrower is back in the game. Is that right?
Let's see. It does look like Harrower's back in the game. He exited a little bit earlier with a right leg ailment. Unsure of what variety, but if he's back in the game, certainly a good sign for the sophomore.
Good, I'm glad.
1st and 10 for the Grizzlies from their own 47. Harrower takes the snap, drops back, has some time to throw, unloads one downfield. It is caught by Lenners at the 24. He's bringing it up past the 15, inside the 10. He's going to the house, and a Grizzlies touchdown. Flag in the backfield, holding against the Grizzlies. This one's coming back.
Oh, it's a tough break for Ashland. They had a nice long completion, and it will not count. The crowd's not too thrilled with this,
I would
Josh.
say so. I would say so.
No, they're not happy.
Yeah, you can hear the boos from the home supporters here in Ashland in a game that was decided many minutes ago. 48-13, 8.5 to go in the ball game.
You know, this second string defense here, that learned a good lesson there. You can't let those receivers get behind you. That's what happened on that play. They got a little bit behind the DBs, just enough. That ball was thrown far enough they couldn't recover and make the play, and it went for a touchdown.
I think there's also an aspect of making sure you make the tackle, not just wrap a guy up. Lenners was wrapped up at about the 20, and he broke through and ended up bringing it into the end zone. It wasn't a touchdown, but one of those things where you got these second-string guys usually running drills in practice, but you got to bring a guy down in the game.
This is great experience.
All right, we're back, ready to go. It'll be 1st and 20 for the Grizzlies. Harrower drops back into the pocket, tries to find Lenners again. It is caught at the 42, no flags this time, and a big play by Lenners to make up for the miscue earlier. That'll be a Grizzlies first down, about a 26-yard reception. 1st and 10 Grizzlies.
Bryson Montag was on coverage, and you know what? It was good coverage. He was right there. He just, one of those things, it was just an excellent reception.
Lenners has a couple of inches on Montag, leapt up, made the catch, and brought it down. That's a good play. He's across the 7-minute mark. Left to go in the fourth quarter. The Ashland into Henley territory at their 37 in a 48-13 ball game. We'll see where Harrower goes here. He's tried to find Lenners a couple of times. Harrower now looking short. He tries to find it over the middle, but it's picked off along the far sideline, bringing it up past the 30, now the 35, the 40, before being dragged out of bounds. And if I'm not mistaken...
That's Carpenter again.
Yeah, that is a great play by Carpenter.
That's 2 tonight.
Second interception of the night, the 4th Ashland turnover. And it'll be Henley ball.
That was a nice read by Mark back there. And, you know, I've been watching Harrower here the last 3 or 4 minutes. He's just not right. He's in a lot of pain with his, and he wasn't able to set his feet. And that's just not one of his typical passes. I think he's in a lot of pain. He's hurt pretty good down there. Good effort by him to just stay in the game. I know he's trying his best, so coaches are talking to him right now.
Certainly, 1st and 10 for the Hornets at their own 44. They lead 48-13 as we cross the 5:45 mark left to go in the ball game. Montag takes a snap. He's going to hand it off to Kern, who gets wrapped up and wrestled back. A loss of 1 on the play will bring up 2nd down.
That Ashland defense, led by Ray Hart and Nathan Schrader. They've been playing this whole game.
It'll be 2nd and 11 for this Hornets offense as we cross the 5-minute mark left to go in the game. A handoff to Kern, this time coming around the near side. He cuts upfield and is stood up after a gain of 8. Brings up 3rd and about 6.
Kern did a nice job hitting the hole that time. He knew right when to cut upfield. Got a nice gain.
Third and 6 for the Henley offense from their own 48-yard line. Montag takes the snap, another handoff to Kern, who finds a hole. He's up past midfield. Sutter steps up past the 45, and that'll be a 1st down for the Hornets. Kern starting to see the field a little bit better, and that's exactly what you mean when you say good reps for some of these kids who won't otherwise get to play like Kern. You know, you're playing behind someone like Logan Whitlock, who never wants to come off the field, but Kern starting to see the field a little bit.
Right. It just takes practice. You can't just jump out there and be great right away. The more you play, the better you get, and yeah, he's improved just on this drive. A couple of nice carries.
Flag looks to be bringing this one back. It looks to be a hold against the Hornets, so no 1st down. And instead, it will be 3rd and 9. So we'll redo it. Checking into the game for the Hornets, Wyatt Fussell in the wide receiver spot. Third and 9. Montag takes the snap. Handoff to Kern. He's bouncing around the outside. He's being chased down and wrapped up after a gain of maybe 2 yards on the play. That'll bring up 4th down.
About 3 minutes now with the clock still winding. Henley just taking their time.
That's all they've got to do here, keep the clock rolling and come away out of Ashland in hostile territory with a victory. The Hornets, with a win tonight, will improve to 3-0. We'll take a look at what that does to the Big Sky Conference standings. Also wrap up some finals for you from around the conference and around the state, around the Klamath Basin. We'll detail that all for you as we continue our coverage of the Henley Hornets tonight. We'll also talk to our player of the game in the post-game. We'll try to catch up with Owen Northcutt in the post-game show, our Mountain Mike's player of the game tonight. 4th down and 7. The Hornets electing to punt. It gets blocked, and the Grizzlies fall on it at their Henley 40. Special teams miscue in the leading moments of this ball game for the Hornets. Doesn't mean a lot in terms of the final score, but they have that 2nd unit out there. I'd like to see a little bit more, but it'll be Ashland football at the Henley 40.
Ashland will have about 2 minutes to try to move the football before the game's over.
Grizzlies take over 1st and 10, and we are stopping the clock. It is timeout Ashland with 1:39 to go in the ball game. We will remind you that this game on mybasin.com is brought to you in part by Klamath Falls Subaru. Through the Subaru Love Promise and Subaru Share the Love events, Klamath Falls Subaru has donated thousands of dollars to dozens of hometown charities. Comfortable and not corporate at Klamath Falls Subaru. Stop by and say hi. Kev, the Hornets have looked good tonight. We'll obviously dive into it a little bit more in the post-game show, but coming into this game, you began league play, and you will start 1-0 in the conference. It's a good feeling going home.
Oh, that's a great way to go home on a Friday night, being 1-0 in your league. And, you know, these games, you just don't know what to expect. And Henley's just been able to play very well through each one of the first three.
Score right now, 48-13 with $1:39 to go in the game. The clock is rolling. 1st and 10 Grizzlies. Harrower staying in the game. Drops back. Looks deep. And it is incomplete down by the 5-yard line. We'll bring up 2nd and 10.
That was nice coverage. The Hornet defender was right where he should have been. Lost his shoe.
Second time we've seen someone lose their shoe.
Yeah.
2nd and 10. Crossing a minute left to go in the game. Harrower drops back. Dumps one to his running back, White, who cuts upfield. He's up inside the 30, now the 25, the 20. He's cutting up across the field, now inside the 15, 10-5, touchdown Grizzlies.
Gavin White making his way into the end zone for Ashland. And they're going to get a late score. Clock still running with 35 seconds left in the ball game.
That's White's second touchdown of the night. That one coming from about 40 yards out. Now waiting the extra point. With 15 seconds and counting left to go in the ball game. Ashland going to go for 2 here on the final play of the ball game. Harrower in an empty backfield, drops back, looks to the end zone. It is incomplete, intended pass for Lenners, and that will bring us to the end of tonight's festivities. The final score tonight, 48-19. The Hornets dominating this game. We will wrap it up for you and try to talk with Owen Northcutt in the post-game show. The Hornets 1-0 in league play, and we'll talk about it coming up on 104.3 and 960 Sports with HD video on mybase.com.
The road can be a crazy place. Uh-oh! That's why Les Schwab Tires fixes brakes, steering, and more. And those guys don't. Keep driving. I'm just glad Les Schwab puts my safety first, so I can backseat drive with confidence.
Help maximize your mileage with a free safety check. Just swing by. Les Schwab Tires, celebrating 70 years of doing the right thing.
To us, pizza the way it ought to be isn't just our slogan. It's our promise and our passion to give you the best dining experience and the best tasting pizza you expect. For over 40 years, we've been making pizza the way it ought to be. Handmade with the freshest and finest ingredients. Our dough is made fresh daily, and we use 100% whole milk mozzarella cheese and toppings edge to edge. There's pizza, and then there's Mountain Mike's Pizza. Pizza the way it ought to be.
Coming home.
This is where unconditional love and immeasurable happiness reside. This is home. Coltwell Banker, where home begins.
Threads. There are many threads that run through our region. There are churches and schools and little league teams that bring us together and bind us into communities. There are roads and cars. There are houses and jobs and businesses, all woven together to make the fabric of our communities. There are financial threads that are part of that tapestry as well. For over 80 years, it's been our pleasure to be headquartered here, providing financial services to generations of our friends and neighbors. From that first savings account, to retirement planning, and all of the cars and houses and groceries in between, we keep your money local, investing it back into our communities, adding more threads to the fabric to make our communities stronger. Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union. Find your path.
And we welcome you back to 104.3 and 960 Sports for our continuing coverage of Henley Hornets football tonight. Kevin, it was all Hornets from the jump, 48-19. What more is there to say about this game than complete domination for the Hornets? Again, another solid week, and they look good. 1-0 in league play. They had it all tonight, Kev.
Yeah, there's not much more you can say. I mean, the scoreboard's off, the field's cleared, people are getting out of here. That game, it got a little rough in the second half, and I applaud Henley for keeping their composure. They really did dominate from the beginning. We weren't sure how it was going to go, but once they got that offense rolling and that defense was playing just superb as well, it really wasn't a contest. Henley pretty much had their way throughout the whole game.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch this Hornets offense operate because there was a lot of big plays from the jump. We talked about it. They didn't officially snap a ball in the red zone, I think, till the second quarter. It was a 30-yard reception, a 28-yard reception. Stork punched in from 55 yards out. It was another week of Hornets big plays on offense. You don't see them drive the ball too much. They strike quick, and they get out of here.
Yeah, their offense is exciting. They can strike at any time and any amount of time. They can sustain a drive if they need to, but they can strike quickly, and we've seen it a lot.
Hornets defense did a fantastic job of sticking with wide receivers. That was a kind of a question we had coming into this game.
Right.
We know that JoJo Harrower, the sophomore for Ashland, who played a solid game, played hurt as well, you might mention. He played fine, and he played a good game. And the Henley defense just stuck with the receivers. He didn't have guys to throw to tonight, and it was a solid game for the defensive backs for Henley, like they needed to have.
Yeah, the Henley defense, I think, I'm not sure exactly. I think they've only given up 2 touchdowns the last 10 quarters. That sound about right?
Yeah, something like that.
So they've played very well, I think, beyond everybody's expectations. They matured quickly, and going into week 4, it makes you feel good about your program when you see your offense and defense clicking like that. Just a good showing for Henley.
The Hornets improved to 1-0 in conference tonight. We're going to take a break, and we will come back. When we do, we will name our Mountain Mike's player of the game. No post-game interview tonight, but we will talk about Owen Northcutt when we come back. Had a fantastic game on the defensive end. Stick with us. We continue our coverage on 104.3 and 960 Sports with HD video on mybasin.com.
Oregon men and women basketball season tickets are on sale now, starting at just $75 for 30 games. Come help us celebrate our 75th anniversary and cheer on the Hustlin' Owls. Reserved season seats start at $175. And our all-new Family Pass gets a family of 4 in on the action starting at just $200. Go to OregonTechOwls.com/tickets to order. We will see you at Danny Miles Court.
Well, our Mountain Mike's player of the game tonight, Kevin, is Owen Northcutt. Unable to get an interview so far removed from the field here at Ashland in a beautiful grandstand, but it does make it a little bit difficult to get up here in cleats. But Owen Northcutt and the Henley defense had a fantastic game tonight.
Yeah, he was one of the names we called a lot, especially in that first half when things were still in question. He was playing very well on the offensive line. On that left side, he was making lots of room for his backs to carry the football. And defensively, he was just all over the ball carriers for Ashland. So really, really good game for for Owen.
He is our Mountain Mike's player of the game tonight. Refuel after the game at Mountain Mike's Pizza. You've earned a pizza made from 100% whole milk mozzarella and toppings piled so high that you'll need a mountain guide to reach the top. Mountain Mike's Pizza on Washburn near Walmart Shopping Center. Mountain Mike's Pizza, pizza the way it ought to be. We've got one more break coming up, and then we will wrap things up, send you on your way, give you a couple other final scores from the Big Sky Conference tonight. Henley taking a 48-19 victory over Ashland here in Week 1 of Big Sky Conference.
During COVID, I gained over 24 pounds. I lost motivation in working out. I lost motivation in eating healthy. And for me, if I'm not active, I just don't eat well. But then I started taking a class at Harbor's gym called High Low. The first week I felt like I didn't fit in and I couldn't do it. But the instructor was so kind and thanked me for coming and told me how well I did. I was like, no, I wasn't, but it made me come back the next week and the next week. And soon enough, I was keeping up with the class. I started introducing more classes and then going Saturdays. I learned how to lift weights accurately with repetition. I started lifting on my own. I started golfing too with my husband. And all of a sudden, I was buying salads instead of sandwiches. Small victories happened week by week, and it's 100% because
And we welcome you back to 104.3 and 960 Sports. Final here from Ashland tonight, 48-19. The Henley Hornets improved to 1-0 in conference play against the Grizzlies. We've got some other final scores tonight. Mazama taking care of Marist, 42-7. Kev, that's the number 1 team in the state, knocking off the number 2 team in the state in a big way.
I think most people were expecting a really close, tight game across the state. People wanted to watch that one. Mazama just took care of business.
In another league game right now, 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Last update we got, Klamath Union leading Hidden Valley 10-8 in kind of a low-scoring affair.
Yeah.
That's an exciting one, too.
That game's been crazy. It sounds like a fun one. So it's still in question. 2 minutes to go.
Well, right now, Henley is 1-0 in conference play. They are atop the Big Sky Conference. Mazama follows suit, 3-0 overall. No wins in conference play yet. Ashland falling to 0-1, 1-2 on the season. A good effort by the Grizzlies tonight, coming up short against the Hornets, 48-19. This about does it for us tonight. Appreciate you being with us on 104.3 and 960 Sports and on mybasin.com. I'd like to thank some of the folks that made tonight's broadcast possible. Of course, Coach Bo here at Ashland, along with Athletic Director Patrick Grady. I would be remiss not to mention the Athletic Secretary, Marg, as well. I don't know Marg's last name, but she helped me with the broadcast tonight, so shout out to Marg. Also, the head coach at Henley High School, Alex Stork, his entire coaching staff, and Athletic Director Luke Hammond for allowing us to cover his teams all season long. Final score tonight, Henley 1-0 in league play after a 48-19 win over Ashland. For Kevin Petrick and for Frederick Reuter, I'm Josh Eldridge. Good night from Ashland, Oregon.